very concerned about the program, what I would say is two things. Number one, don't feel afraid to reach out to a professor and ask them, you know, what is it like going to school here? What kind of focus do you have? Do I have a capstone or a thesis? Capstone being working with a community and doing a project for them, or a thesis where you're writing something, submitting it to a board and having them review it and give you feedback and maybe getting a published paper out of it. So it is, UCLA is an excellent transportation school. And Lee, you're right. It's excellent because there's so many bad examples around it. But yeah, don't be afraid to talk to those instructors. Don't be afraid to talk to the advisors and the program heads. And the number one thing I would say is understand where you want to work after school, because you're going to have so many connections. I still have connections to Colorado, and I don't have any... if I wanted to move to Colorado in the next 6 months and have a planning job there, I know that I could. Not a problem. Because of the alumni connections that I have there. And I just know so many people through the program. So if you know that you really want to be a planner in the New York City general area, then I would say find the very best program in the New York City area that you could get to. Now, if it's Texas, you really want to be in Texas, then check out the programs there. Because ultimately, what's even more important than your graduate school experience is your actual planning experience. So finding the job that you want. So having that bridge from your grad program, and really this goes for college in general, it's easiest to get a job where you go to college because you're going to know lots of people. And go Buffs. Yes, go Buffs. I was a Buff, and then they became the Lynxes, which, you know, I still don't know. I don't like that. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. And I do think that it even made coming to Madison more difficult. I mentioned trying to get a job in the Chicago area. One of the reasons that was more difficult for me is there are a ton of excellent planning schools in Chicago, and why wouldn't they hire people that they know? Once you establish yourself in an area, like there are people that I know in each of those communities that have come in and they have found a way to establish themselves. But it is very, very difficult. And I will say that the first job that I took in Wisconsin was not as good as the jobs that I was being offered in Colorado. And that was because I just needed to get in the door and establish a reputation for myself, network and get to know people, and get a lay for the land and see how people were transitioning between careers and try not to pigeonhole myself in a career I didn't want to get into. So that's another fear. So there's just a lot of different things that you got to think about. Texas, even more examples of how not to urban plan, or just to give up on planning in general. Get rid of your zoning code and not have one. Whatever you want to do. Let's see. Vic asked if I see myself staying in the government sector. I'm debating whether to move to the private sector. That is a great question. So, there is the pension system that you always have to think about. I am vested at this point. I've been working in public sector for so long. I worked in private sector for a year and I found it very, very stressful. Knots in my stomach stressful. Working on Christmas Eve while I was in Wisconsin stressful. But I also got a rush out of it because you get to go and experience so many different things, so many different communities, and you come in there as the expert, you leave, and you get to go on to the next one. I got to work in Wyoming, I got to work in Seattle, I got to work all over Colorado, places I would have never been able to plan for, like Buena Vista, not Buena Vista, Buena Vista. I learned that while I was there. Parker, Colorado. I worked in Casper, Wyoming, Cheyenne, Wyoming. I got to help with the BRT system in Seattle, like I mentioned. This is all within 1 year. And I was a grad student at that point in time. So just absolutely an amazing experience. I also got to work in Denver, which was a lot of fun. IQ Destroyer, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. So I hate to go on a rant like that, but I hope that that makes that. That's something I'm very passionate about. If you want to, that's honestly one of the things I love the most about being a creator is getting to talk to people who are going into school and thinking about all of that, because it's really, that was one of the things I really struggled with. And there are a bunch of different planner websites out there, but there's the usual suspects that go in there. And I think when I was a student, I went to I'm trying to think of the name of the forums at this point. Suburbia, I think, is one of them, where there's like an old P2P board old school, you know, and there are a bunch of planners on there who are talking and they are willing to help you. Uh, but I bet you if I go on there today, it's some of the same familiar faces that I saw then. So you're getting a very uh, myopic look at the planning profession and how to break into it. So it's nice to be able to provide my perspective on here. Did I plan in Fort Collins? Indirectly with RTD, a little bit of work there. I got to drive to Fort Collins one day to look at where the light rail would go. That was a lot of fun. Cheyenne, Wyoming. Very, very, very nice city. Lots of very interesting planning experiences. I learned what Agenda 21 is when I was in Cheyenne. So, very, very interesting. Denver is a beautiful city, and Castle Rock, yes. Yes, Castle Rock is interesting. Castle Rock opted out of RTD while I was there, which was definitely an interesting experience. And then all of the experiences talking about how to charge Castle Rock residents when they would enter a park and ride. Because one of the things is, so RTD is a transportation district that is funded with tax revenues collected through sales tax. It's about 0.5%, I believe. And what makes it difficult is when you have a city opt out of it, their residents can technically still enter the system, but most of it is being paid for by that tax revenue. So if you don't have that, your fare is not covering all of the trip. You really need that tax revenue. So there were license plate scanners that ultimately became the thing. And you had to enter your license plate when you entered the park and ride, and if you were in the wrong city, if you were in Castle Rock, you got an extra charge to make up for that difference, which I thought was really unfortunate because it's an example of, you know, dysfunction at the regional level, which you don't, you know, when you're in a suburban community or you're in an urban community, you're all part of the same community, and it's really unfortunate when those communities can't get along or when a district can't get along, whatever the case may be. So, hate to see that. Absolutely hate to see that. So let's see. What is my opinion of superblocks? I think that they make a lot of sense in certain places, and I really like the idea of the design. I wish that we would be a little more open to experimenting with things like that in the US, but we certainly aren't quite as open to that. Maybe someday places like New York lead the way and everywhere else follows, so we will we'll have to do that. Hello from Victorville. My aunt used to live in Victorville when my uncle was in, I want to say it was the Air Force. Very cool, very cool. Let's see. Thought for a possible project. If you finish one, take a town city from in real life, one for one. Build it, try to improve the tiny town, or the town or city. I've thought about doing that. I thought about actually rebuilding some places that are near and dear to my heart. One of the things you're going to see often is that there are some players who are really exceptional at building things that are unfamiliar to them, and I don't think that I'm one of those players. So there's always going to be a reference to places that I have lived in or spent a lot of time in or are personally important to me, and that's kind of how I ground my builds. So yeah, a one-for-one build would probably be of a place that I'm very familiar with and very much appreciate. So there we go. Urbana, Maryland. It's a wonderful example of what the future could look like in urban style areas. I'll have to take a look at that. I'm not familiar with that. Las Vegas. How about I'm not going to give away any secrets, but there will be a gambling area in Verde Beach. That's probably one of the last builds that we'll get to, because I already see where we're going with everything. We got to get back over here, work on a few things. We're going to do a Berlin-inspired build through here, and really make this an interesting park. Bring some transportation through here. I think we're going to look at this in a different way. So we've got a lot of different things going on. I don't think your train station is connected. You're right. I turned it off for the time being. We're just going to see how the city functions without it. We're probably going to mirror this, and I'm going to let Lee Hawkins work on that. So there we go. Mind giving a shout out? A big fan of yours named Elsa. Eliza. It's her first stream. I hope I said that right. Huge shout out. Let's see. Lee says, I'm so disappointed with the money that they spend in RTD. It's super dicey and basically serves freeway development, which is not great urban development or urban planning, in my opinion. I'm very familiar with RTD, and I have mixed emotions too. They're doing their best with the right of way that they have, and that's the unfortunate thing. Um, Retrofitting in a light rail system is not easy, and it's one of the things that I think Denver learned very quickly. And the costs and the cost overruns are just astronomical. Really, really, really crazy. So let's see. I think we're going to end this soon. I'm in a little tiny office that is very, very warm. And I've placed pretty much every tree in the game at this time. But I'm going to answer a couple more questions. And let's see. I do get distracted. I get distracted, especially if there's 1,500 people here. So, very, very cool. So I really appreciate y'all taking the time out of your day, particularly because it's very late on a Thursday for people in the U.S. If you're on the other side of the world, it's very early for you. And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day and spending it with me. I think that we made some good changes here, but I think there's a lot more to do, and I think Lee is going to help out a lot with that. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's able to do here. And for the time being, I think we're going to leave this off. We're going to see if our goods problems crop back up here. I'm a little frustrated that it appears that our city is functioning better without this train station. To me, that doesn't make any sense. But if we look at our traffic, still got 81% traffic flow. It looks like the farm area is doing better. This little area is doing better. Generally, things look better. Our trains aren't backed up. This is completely the problem. It's very obvious at this point in time. So we're going to need to do something to remedy this. So, yes, fix some freeways. You want to fix some freeways, you can fix some freeways too. I'll give you a couple episodes if you want, Lee. We can have some 2B, 1C action going on. So, very, very, very interested in that. Madison specific question. What is my thought about the new overflow lane? So I think you're talking about the new lanes on the Beltline, and my thoughts are very, very conflicted. I mean, I think it's going to induce... Things are going to improve right off the bat. And let's see, I missed a couple of super chats. Thank you, Jesse Jamestown, for becoming an associate planner. Things are going to improve right off the bat. It's going to look a lot better. And then that capacity is going to be taken up by people who move further away, believing that that longer trip is sustainable because now it's way easier to get to downtown because now we have an extra lane on the Beltline. And it's going to fill right back up, and then we're going to be in the same spot. And there is no more space to expand, and it's way too expensive to expand. So at a certain point in time, we've got to just acknowledge that we either got to get people to live closer to where they work, we've got to come up with more housing, we've got to come up with other ways to get into these areas if people don't want to live in the downtown area or in the greater Madison area. I'm not one of these people that shames people for wanting to live where they want to live. So I think that's where maybe I differ with some of the urban planning channels. You hear a lot of folks say, like, we've got to live in a place that's like this. It's the right way to design a place. I think that, different strokes for different folks. And some people want to live in a rural area in a small town, and I totally get it. For me, I don't, and I get that too. So, that said, the jobs are where the jobs are, and they're not going to come back to some of those places. So either we embrace remote work and get internet in some of these rural areas, or we come up with higher capacity solutions such as BRT and trains to get people where they need to go. And in the Madison area, we are doing a little bit of both. We're having BRT and some higher capacity transportation, and then we are also adding lanes onto the Beltline. So where this leads us is a place where Madison is going to have a really interesting switch flip in the next couple years, where we have a ton of different transportation options coming online, and the way people get around is going to dramatically change. And I'm really interested in seeing how it all turns out. It's going to be very interesting. So, I missed a super chat here. I'm going to come back to it. Dave Green, have a great holiday weekend. Good night from Cleveland. Thank you so much for joining us here. And I know it's getting late for you. Thank you for being here. So I'm going to leave it here. It is a hot box, Jesse Jamestown. It is very warm. I need to get a thermometer in here. In my little 8x10 basement room, it gets very warm with this computer pumping out heat. It's got to be like 80 in here. So I'm going to let this go, or I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining me. We've got to do this the right way. We've always got to do it the right way. So let's come through here, turn on our camera mod, and we're going to look at this because it's sad. And then we're going to pop out, and we'll look at our oval about. And then we've got to do our pull out to here. And then we got to come through and turn on day-night cycle. We didn't have any disasters, so that's a thing. We'll come up, make the 6, 6, and 20 my preferred settings, and let's get this moving. After we pause this, I'll do simulation and come over here. Set this to about this time of day, 1 speed. And we've also got to select the right song. So let's see where it is. I actually just did some server things. So I had to re-import my audio library. And let's find it. There we go. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that you've enjoyed this stream. If you did, please hit the like button. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. We've got some really exciting things happening in Clearwater County that I am excited to show you. Got some interesting things happening, new types of videos as we explore the Steam Deck and how that works. Oh no, I did this wrong. We're doing it again. I forgot to change the speed. There we go. So we've got some interesting things coming, and I'm working on some things that I think are going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to share them with you. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me here. I'm going to hop in the Discord for a few minutes, and then I need to type up some instructions for Drara for Clearwater County for 2 weeks from now. So thank you so much for joining me. I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the first video on what will hopefully be a long-running series of a vanilla Cities Skyline Let's Play. This is the first video on this channel.
On the 28th of April 2019, I made this video. It was just another generic vanilla-looking city in Cities Skylines, and I had about 100 hours or so spread across 4 years in the game, and it wasn't very good. Now, 3 and a bit years later, we have created 5 more vanilla cities, each with their own themes, aesthetics, unique builds, masterclass in design, and absolute failures and flaws in the thought process. None of them perfect, but most of them loved by the majority of you guys, my viewers, and an enormous shout out to you, the community. Thank you so much for 50,000 subscribers. A milestone I never thought a possibility, especially after that first video clip that you just saw. You're all truly beautiful human beings with great character, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything. In celebration of those 50,000 subscribers, today I'd like to take a 3-year retrospective of my vanilla Cities Skylines journey, looking back over and comparing the 5 major vanilla cities on the channel. Brentwood, Berguzia, Halavan, Novaria, and Noob Yoke. I'd like this video to serve almost as a case study as to how our thought processes, points of view, skill and pace has changed over the last 3 years as we've come to be where we are today. Let's take a trip down memory lane and enjoy a 3-year retrospective of Vanilla Cities Skylines. So I'd like to not spend too much time talking about Frenwood because those in the community know how much I hate this city. It is very much an example of a first proper attempt at completing a map, and it absolutely tells in the final product, doesn't it? Just from the clips on screen you can see it's an amalgamation of nonsensical interchanges, basically non-existent detailing, no kind of cohesion or flow from one area to the next. Each kind of suburb stands on its own, quite obviously. There's very large amounts of open spaces that usually we would detail now and really factor into the build, you know? The highways are a prime example here. You look at how we decorate our highways these days with power lines, repeated tree patterns, industrial side, highway batteries like services to help decorate them and give them personality. None of that is present in Frenwood. Also insane highway ramps. The gradient police would be raging with me if they were watching Frenwood live, right? It is just a collection of random ideas, no flow, and very much not my playstyle now. All of the zonings are mass zoned, no care and attention into making buildings historical. And you can really see the difference, right? You compare this kind of skyline to something that we have in Palaven or Novaria. Whilst the skyline in Frenwood isn't the worst thing in the world, it's certainly not nearly as refined as all the others. But for me, this city, it just screams vanilla, and it's just not my style anymore. It's kind of hard to imagine I actually built this and had finished these builds one by one and then thought, yep, this is fine. This is okay. Let's put this on YouTube and wait for someone to subscribe to it. There's a reason it took me nearly 12 months to hit 100 subscribers, because this is what was being made. Just mass zoned, vanilla city skylines. It's not great, is it? But Frenwood wasn't all bad. There are some small nuggets of satisfaction available in this map. This little landslide park life pack that we made was the first kind of concept of introducing commercial into a park life area, an idea which we've used many times across all of the different cities now. And whilst not amazing, this little tram plaza that we put together still remains one of my favourite little ones. I love the little green lines that we have going on at the foot of, albeit a mass zoned green cities district, it still has its own little bit of charm. And I've always liked this interchange. It is quite cute and still gets decent use as well, considering how poorly together the infrastructure is put together in this city. But a lot of it is very bad. Very bad indeed. Take a look at the Frenwood Zoo, for example. Enormous green spaces left everywhere. It's so bad. You compare this to the Noob's Guide Zoo, or Palaven Zoo, Novaria Zoo. It's all totally different style of building, isn't it? You can certainly tell a difference from then until now. I think if there's one thing we can take today from looking back over Frenwood, is how much more refined we've become in our designs. This layers of height across the river is quite interesting, isn't it? We go from a small road to a big collector one to the most insane rail network, alongside uneven highway bridges, disgustingly ugly keywork with a sewer pipe there as well, and it's just bad. It's very, very bad. But for me, the biggest offence that Frenwood has to offer is its enormous, mass-zoned, nonsensical, all separate districts, and it really breaks the flow of the city in my opinion. This is something I've come to really dislike about playing City Skylines, is just allowing a lot of the very ugly vanilla assets to grow, because in my opinion it enormously removes a lot of the aesthetic away from the city. And for those that follow me now, it's no something that we don't do anymore. Every single asset, every bit of zoning, if we're without Pop the Growables or Rico, is made historical to factor into the build. And later on in today's video, you will see this thought process in action in Palaven and Novaria, and you'll see the difference that this makes. There are a few Frenwood subscribers still left on the channel these days, and for those that have made it, you do have the patience of 1,000 nannies, so thank you so much for hanging around and enjoying the content with me. For Frenwood, you can definitely tell it's the start, and by far and away easily the worst of the 5 vanilla cities that we put together. Let's hopefully never come back to this city, right? This is the last time we see it, hopefully.
Hello people, and welcome to the first episode of the new Cities Skylines Let's Play, the Cities Skylines Build Guide. This is going to be a kind of survival, tutorial, inspiration let's play. Now, I'm going to show you the way I like to play the game, and maybe you guys can take some inspiration from this. I am by no means an incredible Cities Skylines player, and there are a lot of great people out there who are far better at the game than me.
The 26th of October saw the birth of Beguzia, also known as the Build Guide. Beguzia is actually taken from Destiny 2, for those that don't know. I used to sweat Destiny super hard when I started this city, and I needed a name, so quick egg fact for you all. The Build Guide is where I feel I started to develop my more modular approach, planning out road frames first, and then deciding what assets sat in that initial frame. Now, it's not to say the Build Guide was perfect, not by a long shot. The port in this city remains to this day one of my greatest shames. However, the Build Guide brought a lot of you to me, so let's take a look around and see exactly just how much of a mixed bag this city was. So Beguzia certainly feels like a step up, and also kind of comes across as though a halfway point between Palaven and Frenwood. You can definitely tell an improvement in this city. The road networks are a lot more established and make sense as to where they start and end. However, there are still vast amounts of empty, dead vanilla space that really murder the builds. The ore quarry on the left here is a prime example. We did, however, begin to sort of formulate the more modular approach. Things like the prison island in Beguzia alongside the power plant were kind of more dedicated areas designed to service that service need. You know, a prison to hold prisoners and a power plant to provide power. They were no longer just chucked on a road and left to do their job. We made dedicated spaces for these areas. Although Beguzia feels just as mass zoned as Frenwood did, for some reason in this city they feel a little more at home, a little more at place. Maybe that's the placement of them as to where they actually sit within the skyline and the overall city, but it still massively feeds into my enormous disdain towards mass zoning any kind of zonable buildings. Beguzia was very lightly modded. We did have better landscaping tools and also Move It, but I never used Move It because I didn't really know how, to be totally honest. And in hindsight, I've said this before, when I see Beguzia now, I think I built the city back to front. I think that the downtown and the skyline should have been at the opposite end of the lake where the oil refinery is, vice versa, having all the industry at the mouth of the river. I think would have paid off in this city, but hindsight is a powerful thing. The downtown Beguzia transport hub still to this day remains one of my most popular videos. You guys really enjoyed that concept, and you can kind of tell, right, this is where we moved into that little bit more of a modular thought process. You know, what fills this space in the downtown? It's not just a tram stop or a monorail stop with a lot of zoning around it. There's plazas and detailing and convergence points and pathways, all helping to interlink the public transport networks into different areas of the city. It is just a shame that the entire build didn't really stick to that thought process. It was only very small spots of Beguzia that were slightly refined, whilst the outer edges of those more refined spots were left to be mass zoned and have no attention paid toward them. Beguzia's highway networks and interchanges are quite interesting, I think, to say the least, and I still struggle with interchanges to this day, even in Ilos, which is the modded series. But it works, and this was very much an experiment in kind of how to direct traffic to different areas of the city without bottlenecking them all into the same junction, very much like we did in Frenwood. This was kind of a lesson in dispersing traffic to get it to where it needs to be as fast as possible. We spent an episode in Beguzia totally rebuilding an old suburb, and again this was the thought process in my own head, looking back over previous builds and no longer being happy with them, instead seeing a different vision for an area. For example, this extreme circle suburb using lots of geometry and road guidelines happens to make it very even and lots of zonable space within it. While granted still not perfect and little care and attention as to what assets have been allowed to grow here has been paid, it's an improvement on the initial formula, isn't it? It was in Beguzia where I really started to fall in love with the campus DLC, which to this day remains probably my favourite one. Building these larger, impressive university towns with public transport integrated into them, and really factoring in the positioning of the large, important university assets in order to make something that looks good as well as being functional. We also have a modular build on the channel for this exact university if you would like to come ahead and recreate it and indeed add some of your own 2022 flair into it. This could definitely be improved now, but the University of Beguzia remains one of my favourite ever campuses that we've done on the channel. When the Airports DLC released earlier this year, we did a total rebuild of the Buguzia Airport. You can see this one here is very vanilla. There is little to no detailing, and it's relatively underwhelming in terms of connections and how airports actually look. Some assets don't quite match this build, and comparing it to the Airports DLC rebuild, which is more recent egg building, you can see the difference here, right? When you compare the 2019 vanilla egg to the 2022 vanilla egg. Things have certainly come a long way. Granted, the DLC really helps the airports, but even so, road connections, asset placements, and public transport considerations are all miles better than they were. Buguzia's secondary ore mine was really the first attempt at paying respect to the theme of a build. These ore quarries now we do on the channel are very themed, lots of terraforming, rocks and overgrowth to help them come to life a little bit more. And this was really the first concept of that idea. You know, how can we play with terrains, and we had this peninsula here that we absolutely ripped apart with terraforming in order to accommodate the larger ore industry assets. And although, again, not perfect, there is just kind of dead arterial roads and open spaces left to themselves. This is one of the better builds in Buguzia, the ore quarry, and I still kind of like it to this day. It's alright, it's not too bad. It was also in Buguzia we started to pay attention to micro detailing areas, smaller green belts and green spaces that are left for Sims to traverse, instead of just leaving them open and empty with nothing in them. A little bit of bushes, a few pathways and some shattered nature as their fencing. It started to resonate with me at this point. It was also during Buguzia where the fence fetish started to start, and the idea of repeated asset patterns alongside Buguzia's beachfront. You can really see a difference here now, right? Compared to Fremwood's high density developments compared to Buguzia's. We started to give a lot more time and attention as the city got older and ideas began to grow. It was also in Buguzia where I started to push myself out of my comfort zone a little bit more and actually built the vanilla diverging diamond interchange, which even now, after loading this save file up after many years and up to nearly 90,000 population, this interchange is still moving fine. And as you fly around Buguzia, it is here where you will start to see little nuances, little slices of evidence, if you like, of the detail egg beginning to kind of take over, starting to slow down and spend much more time with created little tram interchanges and elevated layers of pathway that help complement the build overall. It is within Buguzia's Braithwaite town centre that you can really begin to see the first evidence of my more modular approach beginning to kind of look at the game. I was no longer mass zoning, just commercial and placing buildings everywhere. The considerate placement of a unique alongside some public transport, some service assets, and somewhat carefully chosen commercial to construct a town centre for the first time. And we still use this thought process today. Both Palaven, Nubioke, Novaria, and even Ilos all use the kind of general town centre concept, all focused around a unique public transport and lots of detailing. And again, that more micro detailing approach really came into Buguzia here as well, where we decided to build a little bit of admin and maintenance for a dam, where again, as in Fremwood, it would have been left totally alone. But here, some smaller industrial props and some light industrial zoning alongside the hydroelectric dam. Just adds a little bit more personality into the build, doesn't it? Which is something that I tell you guys to consider all the time now as we build in the modern day. And a quick shout out to Buguzia's Statue of Industry. I think this still remains the best placement of this particularly unique building. Up on a hill overlooking the entire map is hard to beat, isn't it? And you can really tell that in later parts of the city towards the end of this series we started to become a lot more bolder and decided to try out some rather interesting interchange ideas, which in Baby Egg's defense, it works. Like this is flowing. It looks horrendous, and I don't even know what my thought process was building this particular interchange. But it's evidence of that we were getting more confident with the game and trying our own ideas out rather than just copy and pasting other people's ideas that had already been proven to work. And that same concept also comes back into play, but this time at the opposite end of the spectrum. Enormous, in the middle of the ocean, curved highways are not something that we do anymore. And something very cute in Buguzia, the Dragos Andre Illes Central Park was my first ever donation / super chat on the channel. Dragos, if you're still watching, thank you my friend, I really appreciate it. Another great example of the modular approach beginning to take over my mindset was Buguzia's medical centre. a hospital complex with death care, other healthcare assets alongside a hospital, and park grounds to create a dedicated area for the medical assets that weren't just plonked on a road. We wanted to make an actual, somewhat true to real life hospital complex. And granted, it's very vanilla, and the ones we've made after this have blown this out of the water by a long way, but the thought process is here, and seeing it all back today, it's fun to see how things have improved since this point. Beguzia was the series that brought a lot of you to my channel. A special shout out to Eggsy and the Governor, two very close members of our community now, and indeed my own personal map makers for the channel. A lot of you found me here, and it's interesting to look back on it now and see kind of amalgamation of Fremwood Egg and Beguzia Egg. The thought process is evolving and changing, but not quite there. There are still elements of hideous vanilla gameplay that I no longer enjoy, mixed with the more modular, slower, detailed approach that I'm now known for. Beguzia is a mixed bag, but one that holds a special place in my heart. Palaven, the favourite child, isn't it? I think. Palaven for a lot of us is more than just a city. It was this build where our community really began to grow, whilst that won't really mean much for those that are not in it. Discord links are down below, by the way. The communities that grew around Palaven made that city more than just a city. Palaven was built during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns, and because of this, it became personal to everyone who watched it unfold. Each week, the trip to Palaven occupied our minds from what was going on in the real world, and allowed us to escape into what still remained to this day my favourite vanilla city. It was in Palaven where I really slowed down my playstyle. I took one last look at Beguzia, the final product, and it felt rushed, disconnected, unsatisfying almost in some way, whereas I look at Palaven and everything just fits together. And I believe this was in part due to slowing way down with the pace at which we expanded. Gone are the massive blocks of high density residential that we saw in Fremwood and Beguzia, built just to satisfy the residential demand. No more do we see mass commercial zoning along the road without any care to the size and the positioning of the assets that are allowed to be in that particular part of the city, and banished to the shadow realm of the blocky vanilla industrial blocks that spew out purple pollution for some reason. Instead, replaced with thoughtfully crafted placements of more difficult assets and carefully crafted suburban patterns. Commercial zones became desirable places to visit with detailing and parks, sometimes undesirable if we were trying to build a more rough around the edges theme, like Clawson and Palaven. Industrial areas become much more carefully planned as to how they look and what they actually do, like an ore quarry digging into the earth for precious metals, or a forestry area built around a mountain stream. You get the general idea. I think the take-home point from Palaven is how we switched from satisfying demands to building a city. I didn't let the RCI demands dictate the way the city looks. I used those demands in themed, appropriate builds to create a cohesive, flowing city, and I think the final product ends up speaking for itself. Even now, in the throes of Ilos, and a quick plug for our modded Phoenix-inspired city by the way, please go check out Ilos if you'd like to see me play with some mods. I am absolutely loving that build at the moment. But I still get comments on Palaven Episode 1 saying, Novaria, Ilos and Noob's Guide are amazing, but nothing beats Palaven. Whether that be sentimental value from the emotional power that Palaven holds over some, or due to the fact it's a pure vanilla build that people just enjoy for that fact alone. It's not perfect, again, like most things. Some areas of Palaven aren't quite what I'd like them to be. The airport rebuild with the DLC is actually worse than the vanilla one it replaced, but I only had 12 hours early access before the release, so I had no idea what I was doing. If you're watching this video to see my progression, or wonder how to make your cities look better, and there's only one thing I could tell you, it would be to play like Palaven. Slow down. Playing this way allows you to spend much more time with individual areas of your map and create them as they grow. So of course, Palaven is widely regarded as one of the favourite vanilla cities, and rightly so. Very much falls under that remit for me. And with the start of Palaven, we see it compared to Fremwood and Beguzia. Those starts to the cities are very much swamped by the initial suburb and just kind of blended into the existing road network, but in Palaven we paid much more attention to how we actually enter the city. with plenty more detail in all the fence and tree props that we get available to us in the game. Caliban's entrance is a lot heavier detailed than any of the other two so far, and this is all a result of just slowing down, not chasing the milestones and just letting the game slowly tick over while you craft small little green belts in your initial suburb. That's very much where the sort of initial fun lied in Palaven. And we can see as we move through these cinematics that Palaven has flow to it. The roads actually lead to the downtown. There's some nice geometric shapes within the road network itself, alongside placing assets in their own areas like we first saw fledglings of the idea in Bogusia. We now see schools and parks placed next to each other to kind of form a mini school campus, whilst commercial sits along the high street and has specifically chosen assets within it alongside public transport like cycling and buses serving a smaller suburban part of the city. I once had a comment on the Palaven series saying that they can look across the city during a cinematic and recognise every single area and what build it is. And I think that's something I didn't realise until I saw that comment, and I realised that it's true. Slowing down like this, it gives your areas much more personality, you become much more familiar with them and you care about how they look. And I hope you can see the product in a small little suburban design like this, it really pays off. And of course everything also blending into the final skyline with the view to the downtown in the background. Of course we all know that we love trams on the channel, and the tram area through the start of Palaven remains one of my favourite little areas now. A super cute design with the separate tram road, and again it's all factored in from the detailing point of view, just adding more interest into the landscape and not just leaving these open dead areas that develop and really hurt the overall look of the builds. You can see again that Braithwaite town centre design coming back into play, but this time much heavier detailed, much more functionality to it. And of course again here more public transport convergence is starting to become a signature of the gameplay style, isn't it? Very much care about how and where public transport lines meet and factoring that into the build as well. A prime example here of specifically chosen commercial to generate the Green Cities car parks, not just allowing whatever Green Cities assets to grow, adds a car park into our town centre. And I think one thing that really helped shape the start of Palaven was the map itself. We were kind of teased into expanding along the peninsula, and off the back of that thought process I just envisioned Palaven to look like it does. I knew where the skyline wanted to sit, the landmass looked like Pittsburgh, and I had the perfect inspiration to go from there. Everything about Palaven became more refined, more thoughtful. Detailing, orientation, geometry and symmetry became much more important factors in the way that we built. The highway interchanges look like this in Palaven, and remember what they were in Frenwood. Palaven has a variety of different and interesting highway interchanges, from perfectly measured on and off ramp systems, elongated trumpets to fit the landscape, and of course my biggest ever fanboy moment was when Imperator built this absolute insane interchange for us in a collaboration during the series. Even my own attempt at the Spaghetti Twin Bridge interchange, the designs now are just more refined because we took time to decide how they looked as we crafted the landscape around them, rather than just chucking them down at whatever gradient and whatever angle we could squeeze them in at, and then moving on. Palaven's surface areas became much more fleshed out spaces, including the nuclear power plant. The Bogusia town centre concept evolved even further here with the addition of a theme into a town centre, like the industrial metro town centre design on the back end of a heavy industrialised area. Forestry areas were built in mind as to how they looked against the infrastructure that they sat against. Palaven's forestry build in the second episode of the series remains to this day one of my favourite forestry builds. The combination of the smaller little warehouse assets against the highway with the forestry fence there and the port mills in the background is just amazing. I love this design. It's so good. Even Palaven's highways received a dose of 11 secret herbs and spices, with the careful placement of power lines to run parallel with them, alongside some safety barriers in the form of farm fencing. And the original Vanilla Airport actually remains one of my favourite builds to this day. I mentioned at the start of this section that the airport's DLC rebuild is actually terrible. I really like this for a Vanilla Airport, it's pretty cute, it was a nice combination of all the assets. Canal areas became much more crafted and themed districts like the wonderful and fan favourite Canalavan, all factored around themed unique buildings and the discovery of how nice layers of height can be when properly factored into a build. And one of my favourite Easter eggs in all of the series out in Clawson, our rural town, we have a house with a barbecue out the side, which is of course Josh's place. A wonderful shout out to our patron Josh. He is a real secret blend of the old herbs and spices. Thank you for your support, mate. I appreciate you. Not only did we start to refine our more suburban and high density designs, but also taking the theme rurally as well, like Clawson in Palaven, which is the rundown, more rural part of town, that factored in appropriate industry buildings, the use of some European suburbia to create something of a trailer park in vanilla, and this was a much more creative way of satisfying some residential and commercial demand, a themed city to accompany the town over Dawson, and create something of a rivalry between the two areas. And again, an example of the creativity threatening to flourish a little bit more outside of the new boundaries of the comfort box. Trying some Barcelona-inspired super blocks in the appropriately named Eurovan was an example of us trying to look at different ideas, and especially using Google Earth as a point of inspiration for the first time. And Palaven's castle sits atop the highest point in the map, and is regarded, in my opinion at least, and I know a few of yours as well, as the best view across any of the cities that we've made on the channel so far. A special shout out also to the ring road of downtown Palaven. This was an evolution in the understanding of the traffic AI and trying to keep all of the high density parts of town well fed, with multiple access points into the main highway network in and out of the city, alongside public transport links interlinked throughout the entire thing as well. There is a metro that runs between the entire ring road with multiple stops integrated onto the higher landmass throughout the entire thing, alongside walking paths coming over, monorail, metro and cable car too. You can see in these wonderful little cinematics just how smooth the traffic is around downtown Palaven. There is no traffic manager or advanced parking AI in this city. It's just well interconnected with lots of public transport links to get people back and to. And also making it look good as well. Yes, I wish I would have had key anarchy for this job as well, just to line those walls with the seawall keys. Maybe one day during a live stream we can come and hang out and kind of spruce up Palaven's downtown with a few of the mods. I think that'd be quite good to get key anarchy in some places, and a little bit of move it here and there as well. But the ring road speaks volumes for Palaven. It's refined, it's more well designed, it's efficient and it's detailed, and it's a true milestone for the evolution of the gameplay style. In Palaven you can look around most suburbs and find some form of micro detailing somewhere. The path networks became much more carefully created spaces, including fences, little rock and bush gardens, some trees, and the inclusion of multiple pathways including cycle network and walking. The biggest difference for Palaven for me was that everything flows, every road goes somewhere, every path creates a shortcut. All the public transport convergence actually means something, taking people to different larger hubs to disperse them either further across the city or indeed outside of it entirely. The detail is appropriately themed for each area, even down to the style of fencing and the bushes that we used. The combination of themes across a 25-tile radius came out really nicely and felt natural and well interconnected. The modular mindset to the game very much came full fruition in Palaven. Suburbs all clustered around the outside of a modular town centre, with distinct areas of the city, including power stations, water treatment plants, downtown financial districts, entertainment areas, office parks, airports, large cycle networks, nightlife, waterfronts, prisons, rough parts of town, luxury green cities developments, luxury Hollywood hills, fishing marinas, mountain stream forestry areas, European-inspired builds, amusement parks, ore mines, mountain roads, and well-detailed public transport networks are all things that piece Palaven together to make it what it is. Everything feels right and everything makes sense. And this was the biggest step for me. This was the discovery of my favourite way to play the game, and I think that pays off in the build. Palaven is the one, isn't it? It's the favourite child, the original, the Yes Please, the Shall We and the Hello People. A lot of us are still here because of Palaven, and it's not just a City Skylines series. It's a second home for a lot of you, myself included. Because of the love and support we gave the city, I'm able to do this for a job and deliver these videos in cities, and storylines and laughs to you guys that we all share together as part of the community. Palaven was unique for us all, and I thank you all for the love and shout over it. Please enjoy some cinematics of Palaven while we're back here, and I'll see you in Novaria in a moment. If there ever was a city that encapsulates an acquired taste, it's a city built on a snow theme. And while the theme itself doesn't directly affect the builds, it very much affects the detailing of the city. Bavaria is as white as rice, but holds a special place in many people's hearts. A shout out to Brad and Lauren, the Bavaria loyalists. After I felt I had more finely tuned my style throughout Palaven, Bavaria felt much more cohesive. I opened the map for the first time and knew where everything was supposed to be. That the minor town square would eventually look over to the skyline with the bridges in front of it, where all the rural towns would lie and what would be in their backgrounds, like the dam behind where the Hekia. How that the mouth of the river would look on both sides, with the Eggsy River Gardens being European, and the Jeff Avesta waterfront being very heavy, modern, commercial, and how each public transport network would interlink with each other in the main downtown. I believe this was in part due to this being my first custom-made map. I had the best map maker in the community, Eggsy, remaster the vanilla Frozen Shire for me, and I believe if we had just ran with the regular map, Bavaria would look nothing like it does. Sometimes it can be the map that makes or breaks a city, regardless of your playstyle. Imagine Bob Ross trying to paint on toilet paper. Yes, he could probably do it, but it wouldn't look nearly as nice if he was painting on an actual canvas. Bavaria took the modular approach that was fostered in Bergusia and refined in Palaven to create a truly natural flow from one suburb to the next. Everything just slots together nicely in Bavaria. Let's take a look at it, shall we? So in Bavaria, there was definitely some skepticism in the community when we announced that our Snow City would succeed Palaven. And that also fed into one of the biggest challenges of this city, and that was actually the detailing. After everything that we'd put together in Palaven, ideas that we'd worked on, expanded and refined, all of those went out the window because of the way that the detailing works in the snow maps. Everything is white, from the buildings, the trees, the paths, but it has a certain charm to it because of that. Those ideas had to be reworked into properly planned infrastructure like our tram waterfront, which works tremendously. With the introduction of the bridges and piers content created back of course where we had the introduction of walkable seawall quays and new pathways, and I'm really happy with this view in particular, especially with the blend of industries in the start of Bavaria. The planning and the infrastructure very much had to almost replace the detailing in a way to make the city look like it does. Those repeating themes that we picked up on of lots of public transport convergence and walkability all over the map are still things that we work on today, even in the modded city in Ilos. Public transport parks became a thing, feeding public transport lines like these tram lines through the park area, lots of detailing around them, and again even the suburban sprawl just seems a little more planned and well thought out in Bavaria, and I think that's something that it holds over Palaven, is that its infrastructure, its flow seems to make sense a little bit more than it did in Palaven. And the view from Minot Town Square, again a quick shout out to one of our wonderful subscribers. Minot, you are a real secret blend of herbs and spices, my friend, and we appreciate you a lot. But the view to the skyline here remains one of my favourites in Bavaria, especially with the activity across the bridges that go over the river as well. It's hard to describe, but Bavaria feels slightly more well planned than Palaven did. Due to the loss of the lack of detailing options, road networks and the infrastructure itself now has to essentially become the decoration itself, such as the introduction of the two-lane European stone bridge elevated over a road in a simple suburban design. Bavaria was where I really began to factor in the orientation of assets, how things sit against the infrastructure around it. Whereas in Palaven this was present, for example the first forestry area that we built, but that was really kind of the industry area in itself. In Palaven we began to focus on the orientation and how each individual asset of the build sits against the infrastructure that surrounds it. Like Bergusia and Palaven, Bavaria also received an airport rebuild with the airport's DLC, and I think now as you see our progression through using the airports you can see a notable improvement in how realistic they are, how kind of grander scale they operate on, just how much our technique had been refined over the years. Builds in Bavaria became much more unique, including the Peak 15 research facility, a homage to the namesake of the map from the first Mass Effect game, but even still a much more creative and clever use of a selection of unique buildings as opposed to just placing them on a road allowing them to add value to the city in that fashion. Commercial, industrial and service buildings were no longer just placed as and when we needed them. Instead, we repurposed them into things like a border crossing, not only giving purpose to these assets but also adding a little bit of story and lore into the city that perhaps Navaria's southern border does need protection. And this is just further examples of the evolution of the modular way of thinking. Don't just stick an asset on a road. What else can it be a part of in order to satisfy that demand and also actually become a part of the city as well? This area isn't just police stations, warehouses and generic industrial zone in place within a couple of grids. It works and looks, in my opinion, like a border crossing. Builds in Navaria continued to get more unique, with things like the Bradley Stanton Mountain Ski Resort and the few Candy Government Gardens, to the insane, super walkable, possibly one of my favourite, if not the favourite waterfront builds in any of the cities, the Jeff Vesta waterfront on the west bank of downtown Navaria. The layers of height that we crafted in downtown Navaria, every little nuance of detail, every street, every bridge and every little building adds height and personality into the skyline. And again, whilst Palaven had that, we all love and know Palaven's skyline very well. Navaria's feels more natural, more organic, more well thought out and more realistic in my opinion. It's hard to pin it down looking back in hindsight what exactly makes these cities each of their own, but there are certainly noticeable differences between each of them. Then the city received a warning for not enough goods rather than just relying on generic industry or cargo imports. We built a fishing marina to fix the problem, which carved out a brand new shape in the river network and really gave it personality around the wonderful Carina Marina. And it was this thought process of thinking modular that really tied into the problem solving aspect of the game as well. If there was traffic, do we need to build a new highway interchange? If there's goods problems, do we need a big fishing marina? And so on and so forth. You get the idea with the way that the thought process developed. Highways were no longer left blank, instead they were given little industrial side highway batteries made up of service assets in unique factories with cute little unique service interchanges. Fence linings and repeated tree patterns allowed us to bring much more personality into our highways, allowing us to remove that awful dead space that we saw so often throughout Fremwood and Bergusia that is no longer present now. Layers of height and road network detailing became much more important again to counteract the lack of green and colour that is available within the snowfall maps. But even still, the knowledge and understanding of the gameplay mechanics, indeed how to use curve road tools properly, layers of height and little depths and elevation, will really start to pay off when you take a long hard look at Navaria's infrastructure. In order to find an excuse to use some of the more awkward unique buildings and park assets that come with the Snowfall DLC map, rather than just throwing them down in the middle of a town, or indeed near the downtown, we used the combination of the above alongside some commercial zoning to create a highway rest stop, a format that we still love and know to this day, like here at the Rudy River Bend. Even the base idea of a farm began to evolve and adapt to the more modular way of thinking. It was kind of theme something around it. And rather than just doing a farm in the middle of a snowy tundra, we decided instead to go for a much more modern hydroponics facility, using a combination of farm, green cities assets, and indeed some of the park life assets from the high-tech content creator park. Navaria's interchanges, whilst not the most pleasing on the eye, became much more well thought out and given proper time and space to adjust and carry traffic around. And again, even now there is no traffic manager, parking AI or any kind of modded tips and tricks that so many of us rely on these days. So well interconnected and public transport keeps everyone moving around across the entirety of the map. Likewise, as the series got bigger, so did these interchange ideas. Again, a more personal reflection in my own skill seeing Fremwood's interchanges during the making of this video, to now see how far we came in just a few series time. When we compare Fremwood's interchanges to Navaria's, there is a notable markable improvement in the gameplay style and how we approach making these larger bits of infrastructure. Navaria's port is a prime example, a chalk and cheese example if you will, of how the thought process developed. We compare this to Fremwood's port, or Bergusia's port, and you look how far we've come. The knowledge of how to use one-way systems, the orientation of unique buildings, factories and warehouses, all positioned appropriately along a coast with quays and detailing and cargo containers, really show us how far we've come in the thought process from playing this game. Plaza spaces became much more intricate with the inclusion of tram-only roads, one-way networks, European assets, unique buildings, and detailing to create cohesive, realistic, believable public spaces. And the proof is in the pudding. Yet again, Bavaria continues to boast insanely well interconnected public transport methods, just like over at the Exeter River Gardens, where tram, train, bus, monorail, and walking pathways all meet near other larger methods of public transport like metro on the other side of the river, helping to keep the AI walking instead of driving. All those pathways, all those pre-planned public transport networks really pay off come the end once you look back at a city and realise that it's finished, and you see thousands of people walking everywhere. Again, no parking AI needed or required when you play in this style. Slow and steady wins the race, in my opinion, and I hope you agree with the final product in front of you today. Results in the best looking cities. Even builds like campuses began to have public transport integrated into them. Again, all example of further forward planning, which all came together really nicely. Layers of height are something we really focused on in Bavaria, and again, whilst it was present in Polygon, it just came across as more refined and more thought out as the area was expanded. Yet again, the ideas of using canals for residential areas continue to evolve, this time even factoring it into the final view, down to the skyline again, playing with symmetry and geometry, lining things up in orientations and everything else that we talk about to really add into the final build, looking down the main canal into the downtown and metro, train, road, pathway and monorail all is over it as you head further and further into the city centre, whilst also even respecting something as simple as sunrise into a build as well. Even simple things like rail crossings out in the countryside were given their own little bits of personality and detail, making them recognisable as opposed to just yet another intersecting node somewhere in your city. And of course, who could forget all of our snowman covens? A shout out to the snowmen who still to this day are getting themselves into trouble in Ilos. Even the unique builds themselves, including the commercial Christmas market square, which we all knew would eventually be a part of a snow city, was very much factored into the skyline, respecting the symmetry and geometry of all the assets around it, all adding to a larger, more cohesive metropolitan area, just like the Mehmet Ali Borisman Square here. Again, another shout out to one of our wonderful subscribers, Mehmet. You adored me, you always support my friend. We appreciate you a lot. For me, looking back over Bavaria after seeing the other 4 cities in today's video, it feels like a successful accumulation of everything that we've learned, orientations, slowing down, detailing, factoring in the positioning of assets, factoring in where your skylines sit, where your rural towns are going to be, any quirky builds that are part of the city, what spaces are they going to occupy, the recessed train lines, the highway interchanges, and indeed the challenge that was presented to us due to the lack of colour from any detailing that we put in the map also, I think helped Bavaria in the long run. Is it perfect? No, absolutely not. Not like any of the cities on this list. None of them are perfect, but each of them are unique and show a development in the style. And whilst you guys as the community were skeptical about Bavaria, of course snow themes and snow cities have something of a reputation for being perfect recipes for migraines. Bavaria does hold a special place in many of your hearts alongside mine as well. It was the successor to Palaban, had a lot to live up to, and I think some people almost wrote it off for that fact alone, that nothing would beat Palaban. And indeed, there are still some people that think that, and that's absolutely fine. I absolutely love that people have their own favourite cities for their own reasons across the community. But Bavaria, everything from the map down to the road network, everything feels right, it fits together more organically than Palaban did. Yes, it might not be as bright or as colourful. Bavaria certainly deserves a high place on the overcharged egg vanilla city tier list. Bavaria certainly could have carried on, but it was the relentless white and I had felt as though the project was finished, so it felt like time to call it a day. But we'll always hold a special place in our icy hearts for Bavaria and all the little builds and intricacies within it. Please do enjoy some Bavaria cinematics before we move on to New York, but it is nice to revisit the frozen heart of the overcharged egg vanilla builds. It's nice to see Bavaria again, isn't it? and welcome, finally, to Noob Yoke, also known as the City Skylines Noob's Guide. This city has crept up on us all, I think, as one of the vanilla cities. The first episode of this series was just meant to be the 2022 How To Start format, capturing new DLCs and techniques that we picked up over the last 12 months from the 2021 edition. However, we decided to keep this series going almost as like a Noob's Guide to the City Skylines, a series of lessons pieced together in order to how to play in the playstyle that we've looked at today. Slow and detailed and factoring ideas and encouraging you down paths to take new risks with your builds as well, to find out something that you might not have ever tried before. And as a result of this, the city is essentially a collection of puzzle pieces, but it all fits together again perfectly. The skyline in Noob Yoke stands really nicely on a big peninsula of land that sticks out into the ocean. It has cruise terminals and public transport littered all over it. Respecting the vanilla runes with a chaos-themed build in Nurgle's garden, factoring in botanical gardens, Japanese gardens and vertical farm as well, alongside a really cute beachfront accompanied by the London Eye. There are many different designs in the fantastic Noob's Guide Oceanfront Airport, which I am an enormous lover of. That is one of my favourite airport builds on the channel. Very simple but super effective. It's had over 1.3 million come through it now. There is no 25 or 81 tiles here, and it's a casual reflection of everything that we've picked up over the last 4 cities. The Noob's Guide is a fun little refinement of all our templates and ideas that we'd come up with over the last 4 cities. More perfectly measured and symmetrical highway interchanges allow us to create much more pleasing patterns, and indeed the thoughtful forward planning of extending the highway from the initial start of the city all the way through the map into the heart of the downtown. And I am super happy with the way that the Noob's Guide looks, especially on quite an awkward map like Diamond Coast, which is from the original 2015 base game. But now, quite appropriately, 7 years later, with the addition of all of the DLCs that we've had. What a truly wonderful city sim game this has become. We can take a moment just to appreciate the absolute gem that is City Skylines, and for those on the PC that have access to the plethora of free mods and assets from the community, the game elevates itself past what is already the best city simulator ever made. More thoughtful highway interchanges, again more refined than the ones that we saw on the highway heading north out of the start of Palaven. City-wide cycle networks carrying people to and from wherever they need to go in various different directions, and also making it look nice as well. And the themes of layers of height always being continually played with metros, highways, monorails, bicycle highways, bridges and trains, all crossing over one another in a nearby area. And what a difference it makes, right? How much more personable does the road network look? There's natural overgrowth patterns, trees, public transport convergence, and appropriate zoning wherever you look. It's just a neat, casual, tropical vanilla city, and it's turned out into a really, really splendid build that I am tremendously happy with. The Noob's Guide is littered with immense spots of walkability, again proving the point of the development in the gameplay style of public transport convergence mixed in with the walkability mechanic of City Skylines, leading to just so much satisfaction across the entire city. Noob's Guide probably has some of the highest walkability we've ever seen in the vanilla game, only really surpassed by the modded Ilos walkability spots. If I could pick out one particular area of Noob Yoke to kind of sum up the playstyle and the series, it would be the transport hub on the arterial system down into the downtown. A combination of commercial, public transport, industrial and service buildings all combined into a nice town centre public transport square design. Again, this is accepting intercity trains, internals, monorails and buses, with no traffic manager, no parking AI, no nothing at all, and the walkability is just fantastic. This really sums up where the satisfaction lies in the game for me, crafting these slower little detailed areas to end up with something along this sort of lines. It's where that I find the satisfaction, and if you don't, that's okay. If you're more of a data nerd and you prefer to get involved in min-maxing traffic and the data that comes with the simulation, then that's great. But for me, this is where we have a lot of fun. The Noob's Guide continues to expand on ideas such as the tram park, like over here in the Jennifer Cox Gardens. Again, a quick shout out to one of our wonderful Patreon subscribers, Jennifer, Thank you so much for all of your support, Jen. I really appreciate it. A now thoughtful design of elevated networks to complement the surrounding theme, like the entrance into the oil refinery for the Noob's Guide, and a reflection in the greater understanding of the vanilla train mechanics, now developing larger terraform train intersections in order to move traffic around the city. Again, we can compare this to something like we saw in Fremwood, totally different league, now factoring in detailing into our networks like this. Even down to planning the larger networks such as the intercity train system, respecting the new bridges that we have with the content creator pack, factoring in that into the design as well, alongside that grand central must respect the ultimate crawling height down to the skyline, things that we first started to establish as our playstyle in Palaven, are perfectly refined and made simple in Nubio. No longer just accepting that even 4 and 6 lane roads are okay, now breaking them down into 2 separate one-way networks, feeding out all of our fence detailing, parallel tram lines, fences, repeated tree patterns, open parkland, specific commercial zoning, layers of height, and views up to the ultimate skyline, all now respected in a really chill vanilla playstyle. Whilst many of us may not consider Nubio to be one of the main vanilla cities because it is primarily a tutorial and inspiration focused series as opposed to a branded build like Palaven, Novaria or Ilos, it still very much deserves some recognition for what it has turned into. Indeed, it's taken me by surprise as well. It's an ultimate collection of walkability, slow and chilled vanilla detailing, public transport convergence, asset orientations and placements, factorings in of symmetry, appropriate unique building considerations, and active use of all the available DLCs and content creator packs that have released for Cities Skylines over the last 7 years. This game is livelihood for some of us, a hobby for others, a passion for some, and an addiction for us all. I'd like to take a moment to personally thank every single one of you for all the support that you dump across my channel and our community. You truly mean the world to me. Everything from lands changing names in the Discord, to Karina and Eggsy creating maps for me, Karina, Eggsy and Mando also coming to the rescue of Ilos whenever it dies, with the great banter we have in the Discord, throwing Roy Keane gifts at each other, hanging out in premieres and live streams and laughing about stupid alien and snowman covens, but making lore about Paul Palaven and Igor Ilos and Nigel Novaria, and naming builds after you guys, from supporting some of you in direct messages and spending my COVID-19 lockdowns with you. For everyone that has ever interacted with my channel and helped me get to this point, a true thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm so glad you all enjoy the content as much as you do, and there is still plenty more to come, plenty more games to play, and hopefully maybe one day a Cities Skylines 2 for us to do it all over again. Please hang around for a mass cinematic, but otherwise I will shut up and I will leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much indeed for watching and 50,000 subscribers, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day. Hello people, and welcome to part 31 of Novaria, our Vanilla City Skylines snow build. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. And thank you for the support on Sunday's stream, and indeed on Tuesday's recap episode. We built a little government department here, a little collection of government themed buildings complete with a toll booth. Thank you to the suggestion of Joy Plays Cities for this one, right? Absolutely threw a spanner in the works with this toll booth after we'd already set the road network up. And some little repeated European themes. These are actually high density residentials, 3x2s, but when we get them into a repeated pattern, they have a very kind of government-esque vibe about them. And also introduced some liberal arts assets as well, including the School of Education, which works really nicely here. And of course, a government snowman coven, something of an important meeting taking place in the area. So thank you for all the support on the streams. It's always nice to hang out with you guys. And Novaria is certainly coming on, isn't it? It's really kind of picking up speed now. We've got our cargo harbour in, that larger interchange. And to be honest, I don't think we're really that far from done. There is the airports to build in this space, the ore mine. I want to do something on the mountaintops over here, as well as some kind of maybe top secret research facility. What's this tiny little light in the woods? Oh, it's a fire tower. I don't remember placing that. And today's outer-lying extreme rural build down in the Alusk Valley, which will be today's episode, okay? So let's have a little chat about what we're going to do. So we've got several networks that are ready to be expanded out into this area, including this 2-lane, this 2-lane right here, and there's rail already here that we're going to bring in. And then we're also going to bring another road out of this highway intersection and follow the topography of the landscape all the way around here as we slowly meander down to this build over here. So of course I love building rurally, and this will be over the area, which has been aptly named by you guys, of course. So let's see what we can do. Let's build Novaria's third rural town. So we're going to start out today by just bringing through some of these initial networks. Of course we want to make sure we're using the 2-way. Let's go into our straight road 2 as we approach the rail. Okay. And we can even discuss some lighter detailing palettes already so early in the episode, okay? So let's bring in some nature reserve fence and that freeform tool and just give them the slightest little bend in the middle. Doesn't have to be anything fancy here, right? We're very much playing with rural vibes, and even though this is such a small micro piece of detailing, every little bit of detailing is important. Doesn't matter how big or how small, it counts, and it's important, just like you. It's been through some overgrowth on the other side of these fences. Some taller trees as well. Some conifers. And perhaps some happy little rocks either side as well. So just a few props, we can bring a lot more personality into one of these little rail crossings, okay? I think I'm going to be fairly happy with that. Very nice. Let's carry on. Okay, so I feel like this is going to be a good place to start the town. We've cleared out the area using the forest brush, but there's something I want to do with the terraforming first. So during the testing of this build in our Discord server, which is linked down below if you aren't in there, do come and say hello and hang out. We came up with the idea perhaps doing a little island here and filling it with some industry, so a tiny little industrial island. I still haven't turned on unlimited soil. I will one day, I promise. Okay, so let's just let this flow out. Now we've got the main channel out to come through the larger brush size. Take a lot more of this out, okay? Now let's see how we're doing here. So we might want to grab a height that's slightly lower. That should be okay. So just a spot where the river splits away from its main course. So I think that just adds a little more personality into the river, right? kind of flows around this channel now, and there's some pretty exciting things we can do with this island over here now, okay? So because of what I want to do with some of the walkable seawall keys on this island, it's important that the top level where we place our assets is all at the same height. So we'll stick to the general shape. We just want to straighten off these bankings back into the river a little bit. The level terrain, always our best friend, right? I think we all go quite far back with level terrain at this point in the game. And that's going to be quite nice. So now let's draw in our first road on the island, and we're going to use some industrial road for this. I'm just going to eye this up to be as straight through the middle as possible. Now there's something I want to do with the 2-lane American Truss Bridge, because we haven't really used this yet, and I think there's an aesthetic that I'm quite keen on generating. So we're going to come up by 3 inclines, alright? I'm going to come off that road guideline and follow our road length instead. And then we're going to use this to connect back onto, I guess what you would call the mainland, right? So we'll pause our game. We want to make sure that we're remaining as level as possible, of course. And then we'll come back onto the mainland. And this will be fine. And then we'll do the same over here again as well. There we go, everyone's nice and happy. And then at this point, I'm probably going to want to do another highway intersection here. So we'll prepare that landmass now. I'll probably do a simple roundabout one at this point. So we'll prepare these landmasses for that to happen at some point today. And then out here a little bit too. And then we can just slope all of this out so it doesn't look quite as unnatural. That's not going to be too bad. So we'll carry on working on this industrial island first of all before we introduce any kind of major town centre assets, because I think this is really going to be the appealing kind of aspect of this build today. So let's come on to our seawall keys. We want to snap to the road length, or to the road guideline. So I'll bring this out there, and we'll let it flow this side too. So we'll have this in, and then of course just terraform using our slope terrain tool to get rid of that dirt that mounds up on the side of the key. And then just periodically along this key, I want to come back and actually upgrade to the ones with stairs. Now they're not going to get vast amounts of use, but it's very much an aesthetic that I want to generate here. With these little stairs on the keys and the American Truss Bridge that flows over, I think we can do something quite nice and quite special with this design in today's episode. So I think I'm happy with that, alright? So let's go ahead and get the rest of the keys in. With the shape of the island now and the placement of these stairs. We've got the bridge going over too. So everybody's going to be happy. So I'll start bringing through some initial holding infrastructure, industrial roads, alongside some regular industrial zones today. We're also going to include some industrial assets. I think we're going to bring in a power plant over this side. I think probably geothermal power is going to be the choice here. And we're pretty much going to need some heating soon as well, so I think it would be a sensible idea to try and bring in a heating plant into this build as well today, so that we box off our geothermal. And then we can place this here. This is going to sit right against the key as well, which will be nice. And we'll probably have a couple of entrance points for this stage. I might bring one out at this side, so why don't we prepare for that from as close to the hill as we can go. That's going to be fine. And we'll come up here, and we'll come up by 10. We'll come up by 2. And just like this. industrial bridge crossover boundary. 30 tiles. But then before we start placing any major road networks, the bulk of the town will lie. We'll start bringing up our landmass. To allow these bridges to land a little more realistically. And I don't think we're going to key this side of the river either, we will leave it natural. Okay, I'll bring it up here. Up into this side. Oh, this bit can stay fairly rough, doesn't have to be totally flat, just so we have kind of a nice base to work with here, okay? Very nice. So let's start mapping out some of the town centre roads now. Let's come onto that road guideline. And I know that I'm going to want to align centrally with this 2-lane American truss. So let's do that and bring in that first connection that we prepared. Up this side. Just allow this to flow. Get a nice smooth approach into the town. We'll connect here, and then from this point I'll probably allow perhaps a 2-lane road with trees. Come out parallel from this with no road guideline there. Snaps that 90-degree angle. And then we can probably prepare a train station to sit here too. Which one do we want to go for? I think possibly this one. So we've got a road that we can snap this onto. That's what we want to be. We'll cover those train lines. And then the area's constantly increasing rail network. We'll now expand that this way. Okay. Be a nice time to get some trains floating here. Go from this way, and we have a train platform over here, which is not yet in use, so why don't we pop into the middle stop? I'm going to bring this back down over here now. Very nice. Okay, so with this asset here, I want to do a little road upgrade trick that's handy for placing certain buildings. So we're going to draw out some initial holding roads, and then I know that I want the Christmas tree unique to be something of a town centre asset for this town, right? So we're going to place that there, and then we're going to box this off again with 4-lane arterial, which looks a little strange, but what we're going to do is then come into a one-way network, perhaps long way road and grass. Let's just upgrade both buildings here. There's one thing I want to do first. We want to actually keep this back one as falling, and then switch it around, because once we upgrade this, it won't actually read connected on the T-junction. But there's a little trick we can do just by flipping it around and upgrade it. And this gives us some very nice asset opportunities, some really nice opportunities for placement and green city zoning, even some of the modern city centre zoning around here. We'll do some interesting things with some new assets today. Everyone's going to be happy, I think. Okay, let's bring this down. We'll upgrade this into tree road. And then we'll switch into dirt road, probably 10 tiles. And then we'll move down into dirt. Because, you know, clearly a rural part of the town this, or the map rather. So we'll make sure that we use some dirt roads in today's build as well. We have some riverfront houses here as well. So there's another unique building I want to use, which is the ice fishing pond. I think we're going to place this opposite our train station. It's quite a nice introductory asset. It's got a really nice entrance on it. It has some cute fences, and some happier conifers and beaches in there as well. So it's a nice asset. I think it's going to complement what is essentially a little bit of a main street here outside the train station, okay? Very nice. So let's bring that 2-lane American truss towards the town centre now, and we'll get something of a smooth gradual decline. And then of course some of our favourite kind of town centre assets, asset orientation is always going to help us decorate. So we'll bring in a med clinic. Of course a post office is always a good shout for a detail up a corner. It's a very nice kind of cornered asset here. So Going to decorate the side of the street. And then we'll start letting some lighter commercial grow up in this part of town as well. Also not forgetting to continually expand the roads out of it so people can come and go. And we'll want to prepare a connection for this industrial road to now descend back down towards the earth as well. So just come out by 10. Okay. So what we're starting to see some nice town features come together. I will put some death care for these guys so we can come onto our road line and National Holding Road. It won't be industrial then, we'll change it over to road with trees. And then let's grab a couple of cemeteries. Would make sense here to use some kind of renewable, non-fillable death care. However, I do want the aesthetic of the cemetery stone walls and the cemetery churches, so we're going to go with a couple of cemeteries down the side. Okay. And that's exactly what I want. I think I also want to downgrade the road into just one with grass, just so we can see those stone walls on the drive into town. Let's zone up with some industrial over here now, start to hopefully see this industrial island take on its shape a little bit more. And do some zoning on this side. Okay. Do have the smallest little bit of industrial demand in the area at the moment, so we should be able to satisfy some of that demand with this industrial zone in today. Okay, and then we'll let that fill up. And we've now got our district set up as well for over there area. Let's just help sync power through with a small part, and everyone should be okay. Of course, lots of opportunities to continue to people through. Let's have to flush out with some smaller commercial zones on this main street. Okay. Very nice. So in terms of the residential zone, we've got quite small assets now. I might sweep through with the robles during our detail and time lapse today and place a lot of the university city assets because they're going to be very much the vibe and the aesthetic that I'm after here today. But relatively small and thin zonings as well, generally as well. So some 2x4s, perhaps some 3x3s as well. I want to try to stay away from those chunkier 4x4 shapes because they tend to hold the large, more impressive assets, but we'll just start to introduce some smaller residential patterns. Maybe bring some dirt roads out here as well. It's going to be fairly sparsely populated here in over the area. We are very much away from the big city folk here, right? We have a real distant view to that long crawling skyline now. Nice to see it from this angle, to be fair, but it's a long way away. Okay, long way away. Let's grab some education facilities as well. I think we'll go for a little European elementary. I'm also going to want some police and fire, of course. I think we might take up this space here. Yes, I think we will. I think we'll put our police station there. And then we'll also grab a little fire station. And this will be that placed on the industrial island. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll place it here. Of course, even though the walkable seawall keys won't get much use here, it's going to be still aesthetically appropriate to bring in another walking path to allow people to move back and forth. Okay, but this is very much the aesthetic I'm after, right? These kind of chimney stacks up and against this kind of green 2-lane American dress. I'm very much a fan of that. I think it's a nice way we can use this asset for the first time on the channel as well. So we're going to cut a little hole across the town centre, okay? And then draw in a new district, because we're going to do a few special things here that I talked about earlier. We're going to make this modern city centre, and we're also going to give it organic and local produce. Then for the modern city centre stuff, we want a zone high density commercial, and then green cities low density. Now there's a possibility for plot the growables, but there is some little kiosk looking stands that we can surround the Christmas tree with, so it still will actually remain connected. And hopefully get some natural generation in here without having to use plot the growables, but we'll see what occurs. So see, there's some green city stuff here. We don't want this district that far out. We want to make sure that it's very much hooked just on that town centre design, not around the edge of these commercials here. Okay. Just tidy up our district. Very, very small one. We'll name this little park for one of our wonderful Patreon subscribers as well. So we're going to name this after our wonderful Patreon subscriber, Joshua T. I think we're going to call it into Joshua T Tree. It's a tree. So thank you so much for your support, Josh. Absolutely loving it. Really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy your little tree square. Okay? Okay, so this is an interesting observation here. It looks as though the green city specialisation will override the district theme because we're getting green cities assets in the high density theme. So we used public robots to talk about this. Okay, so we're going to high density commercial. Search on modern city centre stuff. So there's a couple of little one-by-one kiosks to get assets. I want to include around here, okay? So we're going to place a few of these manually. And then we're going to come into green cities and start playing with some of these little market stall things, alright? Let's see what we can possibly squeeze in. Looks like we can get a little bit of symmetrical entrance action here. I think I'm fairly happy with that. And then we can just surround our Christmas tree asset with some other similar looking assets, so it's just giving kind of layers of depth, almost generating back streets within back streets, right? And you can do this with any kind of square looking asset, you know, using that upgrade trick with the roads to leave that tiled space around the edge of it, so it still remains connected, but you get that extra zoning capacity too. There's possibilities, I think, isn't it? There's possibilities. We're starting to see some people ride now with using public transport. Yes, here we go, a few people now. Always good to see. A lot of folks heading for the ice fishing pond by the looks of it too. Very nice. We definitely want some more parks around here because there's no one moving in yet, so why don't we grab a dog park to sit on the corner, and maybe a snow park as well, perhaps a little snowman park. That's going to work nicely. Let's pop that in there. And maybe like a cross-country skiing park might work nicely down here. Maybe a sledding hill. Just some stuff to tie in with that ice fishing pond. A little bit of a town and entertainment district, okay? And so, oh dear, no, yeah, you're way out of the vibe. Asset selection, very important today. But these work demands should start clearing up now. There we go, starting to pop away. As these little houses start to come in. Awful, go away. Just too much, really important asset selection. Okay. But because we've introduced industrial traffic into this area, so even though it's only a small amount, it's important that they have direct highway access, because otherwise they have to head all the way down here, and then back to this service interchange over by the fishing harbour. So we'll definitely want to give them another connection this side. So let's come into our highway roads, and we're going to grab the one-way, two-lane highway, and we want to snap to road length and road guide as well. So we'll elevate here and from straight across, which will be wonderful. Then we'll go our curve tool and curve F5. Repeat that on this side as well. Change that guide line. Straight back across. And then 5 on this side as well. if you are snapping to other road guidelines, then do just turn off that snap point. This is a very common highway intersection that we see in the UK. Got an elevated roundabout that comes over the motorways. Grab this slope to now prepare our ramps to come up. So we will initially place in just some regular road, but we'll then upgrade this into a two-way highway. Okay. And then likewise, again, these roads here, we'll close these colours. And then prepare our slopes first of all, that would be handy. So I want to slope up to this point. And then same again on this side. These will just allow the slip lanes to come up a little easier, a little smoother. And then we just want to bear in mind that those measurements will come out by 10, and then we'll to come down to earth. And we'll come onto our highway roads. Land talking. And we'll just upgrade them and stretch them back. So we'll get this hooked in on all sides. In, exactly like I did earlier. I'm going to terraform this landmass out again, just a touch so we can make sure the bridges are as smooth as possible. There we go, and then we'll grab a regular road to come off, bring it almost immediately back down to the ground, and then we'll probably make this industrial road, I imagine, and then we'll grab a little freeform connecting to our bridge over there. Okay, so it could be a nice idea to, I think we will. I think we're going to shatter the key from this point and then allow another industrial road to come out. And we're going to slope down this terrain here. Okay, that should be fine. Let's level out here as well. Bring this in. And then come back down to earth as we arrive at this point. And then just get a little immediate island access for the little industrial island. They can get straight back onto the highway. Get a little bit of garbage accumulation here too, so let's give them a smaller recycling centre. That should help with that problem. We've got some residentials coming in now. Again, yeah, it's very much these, right? So this is such a shame about the university content creator pack that we can't specialise an area to just get these in. In the vanilla game anyway, you can use themes manager, but you know, these assets we don't want, it's these that we're after, kind of the rundown, more rural looking ones. So we'll get the initial population spike in with zoning today, but I probably will refine with plot globals as we come towards detailing. So let's continue to work on the expansion of the road network. We'll come into our terrain tool and we'll start bringing this around on freeform, and we'll maybe come a little bit further up the mountain than that. Come back onto that terrain height again, get a long sweeping curve, and then I'm really looking to follow the contour lines all the way around the ridge here, okay, trying to stay within that same height around the edge of the mountain, which will give us a real nice kind of country drive vibe as we come through here. Of course, plenty of detailing opportunities with nature reserve fencing. Keep bringing it around. If we move out too far, just move back a little bit. There we go, that's what we're after. And then we'll come down the mountain and again prepare an entrance point into this interchange. So this is the central alignment here, isn't it? So it's this node we want to come out of. Let's grab that highway again, and then we will connect in probably with a curve. There we go. And then upgrade this one as well. So the whole point of doing this is to, you know, create that feeling of distance, especially when you're with the 81 tiles, having these longer.
national roads that head out to further away towns really gives us that feeling of distance. That's literally what it is, you know, it's creating that, you know, it's like I've got to drive out to an area today, it's miles away, it takes a while to get there. So I think these longer extended national roads will certainly help with that aesthetic. And you can see now a lot of the industrial traffic choosing to take that little bridge to get back on the highway. That's exactly what we want to see. And there's some folks exiting the highway as well to take our little 2-lane American Trust Bridge back across. There he goes. Some nice happy bridges today, I think, isn't there? Right. Let's bring in some rock assets to complement the back end of this island now. Kind of clump all the larger ones and allow the smaller ones to sit near the water. That should be okay. Nothing serious. There we go. Now maybe a couple of the kind of exposed rock decals to sit on this side as well. Okay. Got a touch of abandonment. Looks like those worker demands are slowly clearing up now though. But there we go. Nice way of satisfying some of that smaller industrial demand with a little terraformed and keyed industrial island to sit in the river. So I think I'm happy with that. Got some problems in the city. Is everyone okay? What's going on over here? A little bit of death care and garbage collection issues. I think otherwise we're okay though. So we do have one more connection available down this way, so we'll bring this in as well. So why don't we shatter a little bit of the road network and grab ourselves a one-way road, and we'll create a roundabout here. I think we'll come for a 5 roundabout again. They tend to be a fairly nice size. We'll put this back in as well. Allow another train crossing out this side, and then just let this meander on its freeform to put back into that national road. There's going to be another connection for everyone involved, and we'll probably upgrade this into high speed as well to keep everyone flowing out this way. So again, we do have metro that is available. Well, I don't want metro rurally, so we're not going to bring this out anymore, I don't think. I think we might just end this metro line in the university campus, because we also have train too, so I'll bring the train line out instead. We don't need metro and train to come and service a town this small. That's very much public transport overkill. Yeah, it's all just about leaving enough room between the train junctions here. And we can let this one come down. And then probably plug into here. And then this also allows me now to extend this line out, and probably don't want intercity trains turning up here, I think. Yeah, I probably don't want tourists arriving here, so we'll turn that off and just allow it to be served by our intercity train network. Okay. But otherwise, everyone's happy. Let's continue to decorate up our main street and continue to keep everyone walking around the town. It would be nice to have some residentials sat on the initial entry into this point too. So let's grab some of those kind of smaller zonings. And of course some detailing palettes for our National Road farm fence always works tremendously well. Just coming from this point. Maybe with a touch of repeated bush spice too. Not massively symmetrical. You can't imagine that the Bavarian City Council particularly sends out groundsmen to landscape this area. It's very much just kind of left to its own natural devices. I think a touch of oil industry fence. Maybe even nature reserve. Yeah, let's go for nature reserve. And just align the railway, which at the same time is just going to continue to help frame this national road that runs into town here, okay? So we'll start seeing
a little vibe develop already in over the area, okay? But it's not bad, it's not bad. See if anyone's using our little country road take me home. Yes, there we go. See where they're going. You're driving out of the city. And you're driving out of the city. So interesting that they are choosing to take the scenic route, because they'll be coming from this side here. You would think it's faster for them to get back on the interchange and get back onto the main highway, but maybe it's the toll booth that's putting them off. Maybe they'll prefer that road now so they don't have to pay the toll. Which would make sense, you know, because we do toll the faster roads in real life, so if they want to take the mountain road back out, then they can do. And again, we can bring in lots of nice detailing palettes in for this area here, bringing in some little nature reserve fencing with just splashes of that bush palette. Maybe a little tree or two. Nothing massively serious, and as we generate the nighttime view over to that very distant skyline now, we can just see this theme develop alongside the mountain, right? Very nice drive into the area from here. See everything all coming together. How tall that radio mast is too there. Pretty big. Okay. Not too bad. However, guys, that does feel like a good place for a detailing talent. So we've got the bulk of our structure in now. It's all just about now continually spanning out some dirt road networks off of this main tarmac road, sticking to our very small residential zonings. We need to bring in the natural conifer forest that we've removed, again, so this thing sits in a little more naturally. And bring in some, again, more continued national road detailing right back into town, all the way back to where we started. And likewise on the mountain road as well, continue to generate kind of this theme and aesthetic with the fractured nature reserve fencing. And detail up a little intersection too, by bringing some rocks around here. Sort out the terraforming a little bit. And then all our other little favourite detailing bits and pieces. But otherwise, let's detail it up and we will be right back.
Hey guys, that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, likes, comments and shares below really help me out. And if you'd really like to support the channel, there are various ways you can do so down below, including a really cheap gaming code referral link to Instant Gaming and Patreon if you so wish. Thank you very much. If you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Really happy with this, a nice blend of European suburbia and university city to create the suburbs, and a really nice kind of mini town centre all formulated around the Joshua Tea Tree. Some nice public transport options with an internal train line here which is getting a fair amount of use now, and of course the industrial island looks really nice, especially with those little stairs on the quays. Quite happy with how that turned out, and a nice use of the 2-lane American Truss Bridge as well. It's nice to see that in the city. We haven't used it yet, so yeah, I really like the kind of green support beams that are on there. Really nice bridge. Do hang around for the rest of the outro tag. You guys certainly wouldn't have seen all the detailing and some extra terraforming as well, which you can see at the head of the river. But otherwise, I will shut up and I will leave it there. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day. Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Just give me a second here while we ping the Discord. And we'll have a little hello people. Okay. Hey Ashley, Lewis, Mehmet, Josh, how you doing guys? How is everyone? Everyone's having a wonderful Monday afternoon. And yeah, gonna do a little bit of detailing that we missed out on yesterday from last week's episode. And then, yeah, just continue to expand and improve some area, which you guys really enjoyed. It's a nice little town, isn't it? It's out at the foot of the dam. It's nice. Hey, Minor, Badge, Tom, SP, Nicole, Victor, welcome to the stream, guys. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, let's get started, shall we? Let's get started. So let's move our time of day along a little bit. And let's start preparing some road connections. So I want to start working with the road network that we prepared way back when we built No Area. And start bringing it around the rail. Also rework the train connection here as well. It's a little bit roller coastery. Slightly steep, we'll sort that out, and then also this rail line connection over here as well. So plenty of things to do around some area today. How's everyone? How's everyone's Monday? Welcome to the stream. Okay. So let's have a look at this road network. Let's see what we're going to do. Take away a touch of the fencing and detailing, save some of those nodes. Hey Claire, Feely, Max, welcome to the stream, guys. Have a good stream, got to go to work, so watch them when I get home. No worries, Stuart. Have a good day at work, buddy. Have a good day at work. Okay, so let's bring in some national highway action. Let's snap to our road guideline as well. And then I think maybe one more over than that, probably about here. Lots of nice rural detailing opportunities around the rail on the national road as well, which we can get involved with today. Let's clear out a little bit of the forest. Okay, and then the road will split off probably through here, and then arrive at this point. Probably a good idea to turn on a little terrain height graphic as well while we're building the road, just so we can see where we're headed. Okay, been watching since 14k subs on your 2020 tutorial. Amazing progress. Wish you had the patience to detail. Well, thanks, Ashley. That's a long time support. Glad you're still around. I haven't left yet. Okay, so let's see what the opportunities are here. Let's discuss some pallets if you like again. So let's take away this little bit of road as well. So of course, some farm fencing or nature reserve is probably going to be the chosen palette for this, I think. Well, we could even elevate the rail line as well if we wanted to. Kind of bring it on its own little banking. Might be a little difficult with the terrain, but we'll see. Okay. Hey Aretha. And Jacob and Rye as well. Welcome to the stream, guys. So I'm thinking probably farm fence, I think probably farm. Early stream. Technically it's a late stream, because we didn't stream last night. So we're just going to do the jobs we were going to do last night today. There isn't that much to do, but we'll see what we can get involved with. Okay, so let's bring some roads all along here now. We'll pop on our terrain heights, grab a little bit of freeform. Then how about we just match up to this one here. Just keep it going. Following the curve. Oh wow, James Angel with a $50 US super chat. Bob Ross vibes. Thanks so much, James. That's really generous, dude. I really appreciate that. And you're welcome for the Bob Ross vibes. Thanks so much, dude. That's really generous. Really appreciate the super chat. Morning, got him. It's currently 12:52 AM where I am. I'm sorry about that, Donny. Okay, so how are we feeling about this? Lots of country road vibes to develop today. Okay, let's actually get this connected, and then we'll see just how many people choose to take it. This one will go somewhere in the meantime, but let's just provide a very temporary connection. Start trimming off some of these trees as well. It's always fun when we start working with kind of longer distance connections like this, right? I think it really helps add to the rural vibe when something's this far away, when you're building all these Oh, there's bridge opportunities here actually, isn't there? We can bridge over the highway. Okay, let's maybe try this. Let's come down to our lowest elevation. Let's come up by 3, and we'll come up by 11. Okay. Hey, is it your go next on 5B1C or Tameister? Tameister's recording at the minute, and then it's me after him. Ooh, yes, okay. This is nice. This is nice. Let's continue to move out in smaller increments here as we cross over the highway. And let's see what we think of it now that it's in. It's a little bit wobbly, isn't it? We're going to need to move the train line, which we are going to do anyway, so let's just delete it for the time being and sort out that little bit of terrain jack that's happening. Let's hopefully just go for a simple connection right through here. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better, isn't it? Okay, and then let's find somewhere to bring this in. So we're pretty much going to rework this entire half of the town in order to get the rail to fit a little more naturally. A little bit. We might move the rail station right here. Just going to eye this up and see where we're going to go. So let's take away these residentials. These guys don't need to be here anymore. Let's just remove them. Trim off a little bit of the key as well. Let's bring the key back to where we want it to end. So let's go for... Are we on our road curve line? No, should be. Probably about there. No, one more closer in. Got 41 people here, thank you for supporting. A little impromptu Monday stream everyone. Just gonna do some catching up that we missed out on yesterday. Need to finish Paladin series first, looking forward to this one though. Good night Donny. And yeah, you will have a fair bit to catch up on, dude. But good night anyway, thank you for stopping by, do appreciate it. Yeah, see, we get really weird bridges here because of the way the river is. It's kind of difficult to work with, so why don't we see if we can increase the height. Yeah, I really don't want that. I really don't want the suspension cables appearing on there. Let's delete the little electricity things that come with the map, so they are absolutely getting in the way. There we go. We have such a small little hitbox on there. Catching up a while AFK from the vineyard build, I'd like to point out not all of us will sit at vineyard drinking wine all day. We drink it all too. Good to know, David. Thank you for thank you for letting us know. Yeah, I had a few comments about I can't remember the names that I use now. It's like Dave and Bertha or something. Okay, so we can downgrade and take this suspension cable. Okay, so I'm going to do some more terrain. So prepare for that to happen. Bring this back down here. Just go into our terrain tools to increase the intensity. Okay, so why don't we pick out the layer where the highway tunnels in. And we'll see what we can do. Not the brush size maybe. Well, this will look a lot uglier before it gets nicer, so just bear with it. Let's start sloping all this out. There should be an achievement in the game for not using Move It. Yes, there should. There should be. There should. Okay. I'll reinstate the rail line first of all. Along the flat ridge so we know where it's going to sit mainly. Just come down onto the lowest incline as well. Okay, back onto our road guidelines, we begin to come down this little slope that we put there. Plenty of rock detailing available on this little cliffside as well, which we'll get involved with today. And let's terraform a little bit more than we need over here. exposing that though. That's very ugly. Don't do that. And then let's slope from here, leaving ourselves enough room to pass through the rail. This should be a little bit more acceptable. Oh, Big Al the Crusher with a $20 super chat. Great work as always. Great super chat as always, Al. Thank you very much, buddy. That's really generous, dude. Really appreciate that. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. Very generous super chats, guys. Thank you. It's like that. Really means a lot. Thank you so much. Again, same trick with the 3-point and the road guideline. Nice sensible curving. And then let's re-terraform this nest out now, just want a little bit of slope. And then a little bit more soften as well, and just let it kind of bank down. Okay. Not bad. Train should be a little easier now. We're taking a really like steep slope in the episode, but I think this is a little more natural for them, isn't it? Let's get a view of it from the down below as well, to make sure it's not too crazy. Do you pre-plan your 5B1C episodes, or do you just get to save and go for it? It depends. Whoever has the save file before, if they have an issue that needs fixing, then they'll tell the next builder. So, for example, if you watch, I'm assuming you follow the series because you're asking about it, but the episode... Hello? Oh yeah, because I've removed. I was like, oh my word, what's just happened? Because Zardas ran into a load of cargo train issues, so he told City Planner that the cargo needs fixing, so City Planner was kind of bottlenecked into doing a cargo train fix. And then, but like, for most of the time we can just grab the save and do what we want, unless there's something seriously wrong with the sea, like the cargo trains. But, yeah, it just depends what's happening in the city, really. We do try to pre-plan, but it's not always possible. Okay. Asymmetrical roads here will be helpful. And then we'll have 2 lanes facing in. This is all fine. Okay, so it's connected, and we'll see if anyone picks this up. Let's leave the game on 3 speed for a couple of minutes and see how the AI decides to read this road. It will, of course, as the town grows around this area. I'm not massively happy with this here. We might do some terraforming to help this fit a little bit better. But you know, this will have connections off into other towns and eventually the airports, which will lie down here as well. So it might not be super busy at the minute, but it's preparing that connection, right? Yes, here we go. Hello, people. Okay, let's take a little first-person tour, shall we? Oh, you're a police car, you don't really count. Are you a police car as well? Oh yes, it's police cars now, they don't really count. Anyone else? Here we go, okay. Let's follow Amanda Jackson. Mehmet Alibriskin with a try 50 super chat. The city looks great from the train tracks. Thank you so much, Mehmet. Really appreciate the support, dude. Thank you so much. Yo Egg, long time viewer. Much respect from an Irishman in Sydney. You've helped immensely during the latest lockdown. No worries, Mark. You're more than welcome, buddy. And I hope all is well in those lockdowns. They suck, don't they? They're not fun. They're not fun. And then Java starts with a $13.99 Canadian dollar super chat. Hello to all. Hello to you, Java. How you doing, buddy? Really appreciate the super chat, mate. Thank you so much. Really generous. I would love to learn how to effectively use asymmetrical roads. They always completely cripple my traffic. I've never really had an issue with them, to be fair. It's all kind of... Let me kind of show you here, right? So every time you use them, you want the... So a good place to use them is at like a 3-way junction or a 4-way. And then you want to use the 2 lanes facing into the junction from every way. So it gives people different turning lanes as they come in without having to use a 4-lane arterial, which obviously takes up a lot more room. That's how I've always used them, because that's how I've seen them used in real life, and it's always worked. So I've just kind of gone with that. But look at this now. This plays lots of people taking the express line out of some area, which will of course alleviate the pressure down here as well. So you can see we use them here too. There's more asymmetrical here. So 3-lane junction, 2 lanes facing into the junction. Just keeps everyone flowing. I've never really had an issue with them, to be fair. Oh, and Subhaji Data, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, dude, I probably am, with a 100 rupee super chat. You're amazing, you're amazing. Thank you so much, dude, it's really generous. Really appreciate the super chats, guys. Here from Sweden, watching it always makes me want to get back into Cities Skylines, keep up the great work, and that's good, Matthias. That's always good. But yeah, thanks for the support, guys. Very generous super chats tonight. So I really don't like this come down here. This bridge is nasty, and we're going to have to terraform this up to a ground layer. And do something with it. Bring out a layer here, maybe. We want to really test... Oh, there's a rail line across there, isn't there? Okay, yeah. There's some layering that needs doing here. We have to layer this out. Let's also terraform some banking around here. Okay, let's take away a little bit of ink as well. Okay. Push on. Might be a better idea to tunnel the highway a little bit sooner here actually. We'll see what kind of develops around this new little express road that's running to nowhere here. Okay, we're going to come off road length and everything here. So yeah, that's what we want, right? That little straight connection, so let's high up the best we can. Probably about there. Yeah, that's a little bit better, isn't it? Hey Lance, welcome to the stream, mate. G's on MOT, just pop by to say hi, enjoy the stream. But MOT Dave Cat, oh no worries G. Good luck with the MOT, buddy. Yes, that's what we want. Yeah, this is a little bit better, isn't it? And then terrain heights here, what are we looking like? We just get a low connection there, that would be the worst thing in the world. Yeah, so you can see the height we brought it down here now. We are clipping the power lines on the trains, but let's pretend we didn't see that, that's fine. Okay, that's not too bad. And then let's bring this down to earth. Might be a nice idea to embank this. Let's have a little experiment here, shall we? Start terraforming all this out. We've got 59 people here. Welcome to the Monday afternoon stream, guys. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It's good to see we can still attract the work people as well. I know Lambs is skiving. Look at he always is. Ready to meme. Soften out these a little bit. Be a little more friendly to our road coming down. Cool. Yes, this is a little bit. This is a little bit of what I'm after. This is fine. Yeah, how many people actually are working today? I'm listening and working. Okay, at least you're still working there, right? I'm not like not too much of a distraction, I hope. Take away another section of this so we can move this freeform. Not like that though, that's awful, that looks horrific. Let's try that again. Let's move over at curve 2 as well. There we go, that's better. Okay, and then let's just run through with a lot of softening on our largest brush size now to make this all feel a little bit more natural. Get some large rocks around here and some fencing, of course. Do enjoy preparing these raw connections. Right, so lots of large boys here today, I think, right? Lots of potential for false cliff face spice, which is always a fan favourite. These ones here. So why don't we use the terrain to our advantage? Let's grab the layer, not on that size though, of the train line, and bring in a little cliff face alongside the road to help separate the two a little bit more. Okay, a little bit something like that. Let's bring in these larger rocks too. Lance is working on new memes, he always is. He always is. A cheeky little Irish moderator. Greg's still working, I'm at work now as well, but it's early yet. Working on avoiding jobs around the house. Aretha is everyone's spirit animal, isn't he? To be honest, I did actually sit down today to start recording the area for tomorrow, but I just wasn't getting that spark. I was just like, no. Whatever I'm trying, I'm just hating. It just wasn't good enough, but you know what, let's just stream instead. So hopefully playing for a couple of hours today will trigger that inspiration for tomorrow's episode. Okay, so now we've got the bulk of the cliff face, and let's start to add in some cascading kind of rocks that are beginning to fall away from the cliff face perhaps. Let's spin this one around, let's get that smaller side of the asset facing the road. A bit like that. Then let's keep moving down different sizes here. Maybe one over this way. I really miss those rocks that we've got in 5B. That little water rock pack that is in the collection. That's really nice. For those that watched the Boulder Insight episode on the Mountain Reserve on the last rotation, you know what I'm talking about. I think this wants to be extended out a little bit further, doesn't it? Let's come back in with some more of these chungus rocks towards the end. One of these. Just the same. Okay, so we're seeing those layers develop now, right? Everyone's happy. Spin this one around. Maybe get the cave in here as well. Ooh, no. No, that cave doesn't belong there, does it? Let's retry that one. Let's maybe bring it in this side instead. Okay. Looks like a mining camp. Does a little bit, doesn't it? I wonder if we want to terraform with the ridge off the mountain. Have another one of these come down. Maybe, we'll see. Let's continue to detail of course. Off the road right now. Start bringing some nature reserve for instead. Hold back these rocks. Would you do a fully modded city to get those gorgeous rocks again? We are doing a modded city when the area finishes in a US southwestern desert themed style. So kind of think New Mexico, Arizona, etc. So yeah, we will be doing a modded city when the area finishes. Probably in the new year. Probably do it then. New year, new city. Which I own Nicole that idea. Let's give credit to Nicole for that one. Okay, so how about some? I'm actually wondering if we want to extend the town here onto this little banking. What do you think? Should we bring... We've got some residential at the moment, just put some more residentials over here. It'd be really easy to accommodate them as well. What's the noise pollution like? Because we're near high-speed roads here. Yeah, we might struggle a little bit actually with the speeds of the road. But then again, these guys are in it, so we should be okay. Yeah, we should be alright. Let's come on to road length then. We want to get the keys in as well, so let's go back into create pack. A little bit of simple seedle. We want to snap to the road guideline of the other key. And then hopefully we can just grab these little straight sections and repeat them so the keys match that same curvature on both sides. There we go. Yeah, it makes sense to bring it on the other side. It does, doesn't it? That really does. Yeah, so you've got some much bigger curves to bring in. That doesn't look right at all. Bring them down a little bit further than that. There we go. That's a little bit better. Let's terraform the river as well, so we get rid of these messy bankings. Bring it all down. A little bit of slope terrain as well over here. Okay. Bring all the dirt back, and we'll repeat the same connection over here as well. Nice. So this is going to continue to box in the river quite nicely, I think. I actually don't want the river to be that deep over here because it kind of changes the colour of the water the shallower it is, right? Gets this kind of nice little turquoise blue colour on it. Okay. If it doesn't break the build too much, might bring in a bridge from one side of the river to the other. We've got this one here, but I think what we'll do is maybe we'll add another one down this side of the town now, and possibly see if we can maybe add a little highway slip road in here as well. We might have possibilities for that. If you're doing a southwestern US, are you going to get into frontage roads? It would be interesting to see someone handle those throughout the city. I have no idea what frontage roads are this city. Literally no idea, but I can have a look at them. Maybe we can get into them. We'll see. Okay, so... Oh, this is going to give us a nice layer actually, isn't it? If we start terraforming against this little express road now. Nice, let's do that. Let's terraform up against it. Okay. Very nice. How far are we from the key here? We probably won't have 640, isn't it? That's well, that was with the road though. How many tiles is it? It's 4 tiles in between, isn't it? Which leaves us... Yeah, we won't do it that close. Let's move a little bit closer this time. It will break the symmetry a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Nice. Keep stuff down to these guidelines. I'll be happy. Placeholder reading. Nice. A second bridge parallel to the highway would be good. Frontage roads equals road against road action. Oh really? Didn't know. I didn't know road against road action had an official term. That's good to know then. Yeah, absolutely. We should like that. There'll certainly be road against road action in the city. And then we're going to give you action into town. Through here. It's only going to be such a small population pocket over here. A little bit of crime at the graveyard. Either the apocalypse or grave robbers. Do we not have a police station here? Yes we do. It's just a very violent town. Okay. Good morning everyone. A little slow this morning from lack of coffee. Good morning Stephen. Hopefully you get that coffee sorted soon, right? So let's bring the Nowari district over here because of course we're using European suburbia. So we want that to continue. And let's bring in some nice little waterfront residences as well. Okay. Happy for bulk zoning. You don't really need to specifically zone with European suburbia. You can get away with most shapes and sizes without it looking too nasty. actually. Okay, that's weird. Specifically road against highway. Okay. So frontage roads is what it's called. Yeah, if there's like an official term for road against road action, then yeah, we'll absolutely do so. Bring in some initial Bavarian or no Warian decoration. That's the palette in the town entrance here. Want to throw in the nature reserve. That's too close to get it. 6 meters, that should be okay. There we go, yeah. Let's do 4 on each side. It's going to want water as well, of course. Probably power, which might sink through from the river. Yes, it is. That's fine. That's wonderful. To be precise, a frontage road is a road on road feeder parallel to the highway, limited junctions on the highway, but general access to the frontage road. Okay, I'll definitely need to look into it. It's a lot of terminology that I don't know. Okay, so... Oh yeah, that's a good idea, that dirt road bridge here. Nice. That's the one, yes, it gives the little... Yes. Yes, it is bonus there. Wonderful that, yes please. We need to trim the keys up though, because the town is ending here, so let's have a little think about how this is going to work. Might have to deepen the river as well a little bit. Let's widen it out ever so slightly, so we can accommodate the little wooden bridge. Yes. So, can we move from Tarmac Road, which is used road and angle here? Oh, Jacob E. Louston. I think I'm pronouncing that right, with a 38HK super chat. Hey, greet you from Hong Kong, City Skylines in Real. Big fan of your builds. Thank you so much, Jacob. Really appreciate the super chat we're doing. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. Thank you. Really appreciate it, mate. It's bloody connected here in the river. So we might have to mess with the riverbed here to get this to fit. So we'll terraform a little bit deeper this part. How about the European 2-lane bridge? That would be a good shout as well. We're going to have to manually place this, aren't we? It's not going to behave itself. We want to snap to this card line here. Yeah, did I say thank you, Jacob, for the super chat? I think I did, right? Yeah, really generous, mate. Glad you enjoyed the videos. Yeah, it's the riverbed here. What it does to the to the bridges is a nightmare. Got a higher banking on the east. Yeah, it's probably needs to be raised up, isn't it? How would the European 2-lane bridge look actually? No. Not like that. Okay. Let's sink the river down a little bit further. Let's push it in. We'll disturb the water flow temporarily, but we'll repair it. Bridge gives me anxiety, as does it all, man. It gives us all anxiety. Okay. There we go. That's what we want. Once the the river stabilizes. Anyone ever seen a flexible bridge before? Are you all happy if we leave it like that? Is that okay? Absolutely not, is it? It's absolutely not okay. And this is really difficult to get it to fit in. We can prepare, we can down a little bit here. I don't mind that elevation, that's okay, but I want it to maintain it as it crosses the water, which it is now doing, which is great. How are we doing here? Yeah, I don't mind the little wooden entrance thing starting here. What's the distance from there to there? It's 12.18, I'm not going to have the road here with the highway. Can I knock that highway out a little bit? I can, because what I want to do here is maybe feed in like a little just brief highway access system to run parallel and people can get on the highway from here. Because this takes them back into the four-way interchange, which gives them access across the rest of the city, right? So it'd be nice if they can be connected into this. Okay. Hey Karen, Joy, Tim, welcome to the stream, guys. How are you all? Yeah, I'm going to knock the highway off. I'm going to knock it all back. This is basically just an infrastructure stream for those that are maybe watching this back. How long have we been live? 37 minutes. All we've done is roads. Welcome to the stream, everyone. A little bit of fencing as well. Let's not neglect the fencing. Okay, so from here to here is what? 1280. Let's hopefully repeat that on this side as well. 1280. There we go. Yes, please. Okay, don't mind that. Hi from Brazil. Hello, Anna. Welcome to the stream. Okay. So then off of this road, we will introduce a little small industrial, maybe a highway, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. And then we'll have this as a little one-way access road that feeds into the highway. So let's not forget to connect these back in. So we'll come off road guideline, and then while we're working with highways, road length and angle is always helpful. And then it's about this point we want to curve off, so let's come in with freeform. Let's actually go for a curve tool instead, and we'll curve by 10. And then move out by 20, this should give us enough. Come onto that road guideline as well. The one we want. And you will run straight now. All this can be deleted. It does give us a little more room to continue to expand our area as well if we trim the highway back around here. Get back into that freeform tool. Actually, it's easier to put in the placeholder first, isn't it? Are we the same distance there? Yeah, we're good. We're good. Nice. And hopefully just a cute little freeform connection. Sort our directions out. And the other way. Love a covered bridge, so cute. Yeah, they're nice, aren't they? I often wet them. Very rare we use them, but work nice in no area, I think, right? Always gonna be happy here. I guess we can upgrade this into high speed, right? Turn it into a little slip lane. Be interesting to see how many people actually pick that up, because this highway doesn't get that much use at the minute because there's not really anything out here. We'll hopefully see that change with the introduction of these new little slip roads in and out of no area. Fantastic. Okay, so the highway's back in. Let's see what happens. Hey, Tiger, Tigre, how am I pronouncing that right? And Quad Dad as well. Welcome to the stream, guys. Okay, so let's see if anyone from Nowarea picks up the little bridge, and then we can detail all this out. Let's bring the keys back down to where the bridge ends, right? This will be the end of the town for the riverfront anyway. cross my bridge? Please. Anyone going to cross it? Anyone at all? It's brand new. Can't be the first to drive over it. Are you going to add an entrance to bridge off the highway? Yes, we will. We'll have a little highway exit here as well. I'm just leaving it connected to see if anyone takes it first, which they don't seem to be doing. Not yet, anyway. Okay, so yeah, let's add in a highway exit then. Let's see if anyone... Just make it super ugly right now, just connect it in so it's there, and then we can worry about making it beautiful in a minute. We'll see if anyone actually uses it first. The last pronounce was right, I can't remember which one I said last. So we're back to... Was it Tigre? Tiger? Can't remember. Either way, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. What are you planning on building in this area, Egg? We're doing just some expansion to no area, adding in lots of long distance highway infrastructure. The airports will eventually lie here. This big landmass will become airport once we unlock them. Which, how far away are we from airports now? Can't be that far, right? We unlocked the first one at 70,000. And then, oh yeah, we are. We are quite a distance away actually from the airports. But yeah, airports here eventually. Nobody cares for this highway. Well, then again, I guess if they're wanting to go into no area, they're going to come off here. This will be faster for them, right? Okay. Interesting. That on and off ramp is actually a great little place for a highway rest stop. Yes, it is. Okay. So no one seems to be using it at the minute, which initially would be a sign that it's a useless bit of infrastructure and no one really cares for it, but let's ignore that intuition and just start to prepare a little bit of highway infrastructure to support a connection here. We go here too. Yeah, that's fine. We can probably add a little slip here now as well. Let's go for... Let's rework this here. We'll get a little switch around point here for the highway. So let's come out to the edge of the houses with regular road. Okay, and then we'll switch to industrial on the angle snap as well. And then we'll see what we can do here. So let's bring in a little slip here. No, not like that. And that's more of what I'm after. And then turn that the other direction. And then this as well. Just carry on bringing this down. Apologies if you can hear the rain, guys. We have horrific weather today and it is quite loud. I'm not sure if the mic's picking it up. And this wants to be one way. Then probably another appropriate use of asymmetrical road here as well. Let's go on to that angle snap too. And then we'll have no, it's probably not asymmetrical here, is it? I think we'll just go for industrial. Why it's a little highway road. Let's see, and then let's bring this connection back in onto the highway now as well. Let's come back onto that road length and road guideline. Why are you What are you doing? Did not ask for that. Why is that happening? Are you okay? Do you need to be terraformed? You're elevating for literally no reason. I have never ever seen this happen. Oh, it's not elevating, is it? I'm using the one without... I'm using the sound barrier one. It's Monday, everyone. It's why we don't stream on a Monday. It's sound barriers, I know. I know it's sound barriers. I'm like, why is it elevating? 102 people as well. Welcome to the stream, guys. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Oh yes, nice one. Yes, please are using it. Good. Yes. Success. Are you going to head up this way? Yes, and they're using a little slip here as well. Where are you going? Why are you coming out here? You're going to champion weightlifting gym? Nice, okay. That's good news, it's working. Hey, I finally caught your stream. Hey, music, Harmony. Is this part of a new town? This is no area. We're just expanding the infrastructure around. We work in national roads and train lines and now a new highway on-off system around here. Okay, getting used. Traffic in the town is still healthy. No one's clogging up around the new connections. I think a lot of the time when people run into traffic in cities, it's just a matter of the fact that there's not enough ways in and out of an area. It usually works for me anyway. We'll see. But if you're enjoying the stream, guys, likes, comments and shares below. It really do help out. You can't comment while it's live, but you can like and share and come back and comment once it's loads as well. If you really care about that. But it does help me out. Yeah, it's going for a little bit in the Bavaria forest. Let's bring that bush size down as well. Start fleshing out around this new residential area. Some nice forested vibes. Okay. Yeah, we probably want some fencing to run between this as well. Definitely feeding zoo fencing. Have you already built a zoo in Novaria? No, we haven't. We've used zoo assets, but we haven't built a zoo. We will do. Let's get our zoo back to the land. Some nice decoration. The lovely trees are going to be too much. I think maybe just a little bit push it up and quite a good tree. The console has a tree brush, but PC doesn't. I think they only want fencing on one side. And then maybe on the outside, maybe little slopes here. This might be a slight It's interesting. Is this highway even connected? No one's going this way. Like literally 0 people. You are connected, right? Comes under the mountain, so it's all still right hand drive, left hand right. Over here. I wonder why no one uses it. The other highway gets used, but maybe it's just too far, or there's not enough reason to travel out here yet. Unsure. Yeah, there's people coming this way, just no one uses this way. Yeah. Yeah, literally everyone coming off of that trumpet interchange down there is now coming off at no area. Wonder why that is. That's very unusual. Sugar maples. Yes, yeah, sugar maples would be nice. Hey fruit guy, welcome to the stream. Pretty well. Let's get a little sugar maple line going. For 15 meters. Through here. Is there a piece of road somewhere pointing in the wrong direction? Well, that's what I was thinking, but there's no broken connection markers because it tells you, like, if you upgrade the direction of the road to go above ground, you know, it shows you the broken connection when something's not facing the right way. But there is no broken connection markers. It just connects from one side of the mountain to the other, but no one uses it. Literally no one. It's very weird. Very weird. Yeah, and he's going to come off down here as well. Okay. Let's look at decorating this little slip here as well, to bring some fencing into it. Some nice rocks and overgrowth around this little on and off system. Some overgrowth. A couple of little rocks as well. Been a while since I've been here. Hey Eamon. Welcome back. Smaller trees. Occasional fall, maybe single. Down here as well. It's just starting to become a little bit run down. Okay. There is no access to Nawari from that side. No, there isn't. Oh, literally speaking about it, someone's just used it. There we go. Where are you going? Okay. Yes, as always. Oh wait, no, that's the other direction, isn't it? There you go. I guess, yeah. Because maybe there is no. Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Guess it is because you have only slip lanes on both sides. If you had interchanges, they'll start seeing that as a useful option. Also the other direction. True. That is true. But even then, you would think that people in no area, because this takes them all over the city, they can go anywhere from the interchange. And then everyone that comes down this way, they all come off at no area. If not a little bit further down, yeah. It's an interesting kind of experiment as to how the highways are behaving with one another. But yeah, no one cares for the right way out. The Warians have the other roads go somewhere and then to the highway. Yeah. They have several connections now, but they don't care. I mean, technically this road right here is the faster connection into no area because you can exit here. There's an interchange, there's a service interchange here. So, don't know, strange AI. Hopefully as we continue to build out the area, it'll pick up. I think it certainly will once the airports are down this way, but we'll see what happens. Okay, let's have a little analysis of what we've actually done in the first hour here. Hey Honorata, happy to see you streaming there. I've just finished listening to True Crime and can use some Bavarian chill. Welcome, this is what we're here for. Honorata, welcome in. I need to just nip to the bathroom for a hot minute. Let me pop you guys on a little sunset view of Novaria. Where I go. Let's get to that nighttime view. There we go. That'll be nice for you. You can enjoy your sunset over the dam. I'm just gonna grab a drink and nip to the bathroom. I'll be 2 seconds. And hello people, welcome. How many toilet jokes did we get? Quite a few. Well, there's one from John. Welcome. 124 people here. Hey guy, you're a United fan, right? Are you happy with the squad right now? Happy with the squad, not massively happy with the manager, but yes, I am a United fan. How was the sunset over the dam? Is it alright? It's nice, isn't it? Yes please. Lovely stuff. Come back into the daytime. There we go. Early morning's always a nice time in the area. Yeah, so there's definitely opportunities for highway rest stops to appear out this way. Maybe one in this little corner here. Yeah, I think we'll do that. Good opportunity to use some of the Japanese content creator assets out here. I think we can probably get away, because it's not going to be a vast amount of infrastructure out here. We can probably just get away with another road connection off of the little slip lane here. Should be okay. Mustache Mahoney. What a name. Mustache Mahoney with a $10 super chat. Currently switching from PS4 to PC Skylines. I'm so excited. That is going to be a massive change, dude. Welcome to the PC club. Yeah, you'll enjoy it. It's a vastly different game on the PC. Vastly different. Okay, so this is probably a bit big. Don't want this out here. Let's go for... Actually, let's show the rest of the city. We are getting a little bit of abandonment. These are the buildings that died in the flood. They're historical. I need to delete them. What everyone else is. Okay, you're getting goods issues. And you have no water. My apologies. Thanks for the super chat, Mustache. Like I said, thank you again. I'm terrible at saying thank you. I really appreciate it, mate. And yeah, definitely enjoy moving over to PC. Okay. So, highway rest stop. Let's have a little look at our potential assets. There's a couple of different ones here. See which ones we fancy. Maybe 2 of them. Hey, Overcharged Egg, how's it going? I'm not too bad, Max. How are you? Since you have no area and some area, could we perhaps have over area? Yes, we can have over area. I'll make sure the next rural town is over area. That's fine. Okay, I think I'm feeling this one. Which one's this? The noodle restaurant. Okay. Need to actually work now? No, Anthony, don't stay. Stay with us. don't leave. Everyone's having fun. And we're just getting into a highway rest stop build, which is always nice. Okay, so we definitely want some Green Cities car parks to appear here, because there's always car parks at highway rest stops, right? Let's make sure that we are appropriately tiled. Ugh, no we're not. We are out by 1. That's fine, we can get away with it. Let's go into some green cities. We do have some commercial demand to support these, so... Actually, yeah, let's do a little staggered pattern with the 3x2s and maybe bring in some probably regular vanilla pavement path. No, path. Yeah, that's better. That is better, isn't it? Bring the water patch into the roads, otherwise City Planner will murder me. I was really glad that City Planner put my fence back in 5B as well. He deleted it and I commented like, you just took my fence out, put it back. Like at the end of his last episode, he's like, I'm sorry, let's put this fence back in. It's like, thank you. Yeah. Everyone else in 5B building these like dramatic interchanges, Imperator's doing this amazing airport, and I'm like, let's put a little fence in. It's nice. Hello from Greece. Hello Tassos. Welcome to the stream. I love your food. I love Greek food. Been to Greece many times. Okay, how about we take this a little bit more rurally, right? Let's maybe bring in some dirt road. Now, how about perhaps just like a little park, just a little basic city park with a couple of gazebos. If people are maybe on a long journey, they can get out and kind of stretch their legs. Different opportunities available. Bring in some pathways off this. We'll see if we can get a little petrol station commercial asset in here as well. Let's run with nature reserve fence. I do love making highway rest stops, they're very fun. Especially with the Japanese content creator assets as well. We've got 130 people here on Monday afternoon. Welcome to everyone that's skiving work. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Okay, and then just like a little... Because we're so close to a road, the gazebos will register as connected. So we should be okay. Maybe like a little restaurant too over here. Something like that. I'm from Greece too, I love your videos. Welcome Tristanos. Lots of Greek people in today. Shout out to the Greek subscribers. If you guys keep making your wonderful food, like souvlaki and tzatziki, I will keep making videos. we'll make a little deal, right? I love souvlaki, man. Like every time I'm on a beach in Greece, it's get the grilled pork out. let's have some grilled pork, yes please. Or chicken as well. I think you can have it with chicken, right? Okay, let's go for some conifers over here. Doing great egg from Philippines. Hey Daryl. We're from the UK, mate. Probably a little bit of conifer forest in here as well. Okay, probably terraform the riverbank here a touch too, because we don't want the keys to carry on past the highway rest stop. Or do we? Do we want the keys to run up here? Yeah, we probably can. I think we will. Let's terraform this out. Because I think if people can stop at the highway rest stop and then walk into town, that might be nice. Come on to road guideline. Snap to that, and then we'll bring it parallel out there. Should be okay. Okay. It's very cute, it's very small, but I think it matches No Area's vibe. We'll want to bring some people and path connections into this key as well. Let's come on to the little crossroads here. Okay. Another one here too. Let's slope land away here. Off the quay. Very nice. And probably a path connection here as well, so you can actually walk over the wooden bridge. If they so wish to. Nice. What part of the UK are you from, Ed? You're from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Am I pronouncing that right? Calgary? Is that how it's pronounced? Isn't there an Italian city with the same name as well? Or was that Cagliari? Can't remember. I'm from the northwest. I currently live in the Lake District, but was born and raised just outside of Manchester. Okay, that's bad. That's Cagliari, that's the one I'm thinking of. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think I probably want to bring this road down here as well now. Continue to bring in some green cities commercial, is it we're using here? Yeah, okay, let's bring in some more green cities opportunities here. Because we do have plenty of commercial demand, we can support it. Ooh. So there's actually a happy accident with the zone in there. If we can get a lot of little 1x1s in, green cities, that's actually a really nice pattern. So we'll see how that develops. But everyone's happy here, everyone's flowing. First people visiting the highway rest stop. It's pronounced Calgary, but the people that live here wrote it off the tongue like Calgary. Okay. I have a friend who was born in England. He told me that going to London and saying you've seen all of England was like going to New York City, seeing all of America. Got to visit for sure. Yeah, man. There's lots of very beautiful parts of England. The north has a lot of national parks, like the Lake District and the Yorkshire Dales, and then across the border into Scotland. Scotland has some very nice like countryside up near like the Cairngorms and stuff. Like Cairngorm National Park, that's really nice. Yeah, I think the north and the south of England are two very different places. Okay, let's bring this repeated sugar maple pattern onto the waterfront quays now as well. 23 metres we can go for here. Yeah, that's about fine. Yeah, I'm actually going to put a poll up in the comments as well, or in the live chat rather. Let me do it here. So I'm just about to stick a poll in the live chat, guys. Feel free to stick a vote on it. That does make sense, because the last poll that I did didn't make sense, and I got crucified for it. Was that background music in the streams, yes or no? Yeah, that's fine. Pedestrian bridge, yeah, it would be nice to have a bridge linking back into the cross, actually. Yeah, I think maybe just like a regular vanilla one. Bring it over here behind the cafe. I think we can get away with that. Let's delete the fence in. And we can probably snap into grid here as well. At least while we come out. Can we get away with 2 elevation steps over the quay? Is that going to be okay? How's the poll doing? Oh, interesting. I didn't think it would be that close. Did not think it would be that close at all. Mass Effect music? Of course. What else? Is there any other type of music? No one's told me. Nature Reserve Bridge would look good. Yeah, it would. It would, you're right. Do you want to bring it down this side as well? What's the distance here? 102. And possibly repeat it there as well. Okay. I wouldn't mind music, but no music is very nice on your live streams. It's very relaxing just to hear you talk, to be honest. Okay, that's good. So where I was watching another streamer a couple of days ago, and people were asking for background music, and I thought, oh, like maybe my audience wants that as well. So, but it's pretty evenly split there. Well, not anymore. It's not. now the US people are winning. Hey, Karina and Renee, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream, guys. So I can't imagine this will get vast amounts of use because there's not lots of population over here. But we should be okay. Okay. There was another job I wanted to do over here. Oh yeah, with the entrance to the wooden bridge. Just want to surround this with nature reserve fencing and conifer forest. And little bits in here as well. How's the green cities commercial developed? Wonderfully well, very nice indeed. Okay. Maybe some towns have music, then some don't. I think it's probably better to be consistent with the music. Are you using mods? Yes, quality of life mods. The mod list is linked in the description if you want to know what I'm using. Should we have some shifty snowmen? Yeah, let's do a little rural snowman coven, shall we? Maybe hanging out under the wooden bridge, like trolls. We'll also use it as an excuse to connect into the key, but we'll get some snowman props here. The snowman covens have become really popular. Popular, haven't they? Every time we're streaming now, there always has to be a coven somewhere. It's usually 4 snowmen, right? Where are the other ones? Is it 4 or 3? Where is 1? There's fire in the downtown, it's fine. Over here. Yeah, it's 4, isn't it, usually? Yeah, it's 4. Okay, and then we'll have a little browse through our prop list as well. How about a little wood stack next to them? Doesn't really make sense though, does it? High level doghouse? Give them a swimming pool. Which is frozen over. Of course. Okay, maybe like a little dumpster under them. Some like garbage piles behind. Little air conditioning unit. Maybe they're like hoarding stuff under the bridge, right? Every time something gets thrown out in another area, it ends up over here. Like the fly tipping. Right? You want an excuse for it. Nicole V with the $3 Canadian super sticker. It's a fox waving by. Off to physio, but have a good rest of the stream, mate. Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you for stopping by.
and enjoy physio. I hope it goes well. And thank you for the super sticker as well. I think maybe a little bit of fencing to hide them. Or fence? Yeah, okay. Maybe it's just been kind of like cordoned off a little bit. And along this side as well. It's so terrifying seeing that, right? So maybe like some troll snowmen under the bridge. They hoard everyone's garbage from no area. Okay. Whatever. The covens are probably one of my favourite things about Novaria. Is that a compliment? I think there's a compliment in there somewhere, right, Josh? I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. Okay, let's get back to National Road detailing. What forest is on the mountainside? It's just conifer, isn't it? Okay, so let's bring up a brush size, bring down the strength, and then just splash a couple of conifers around to continue that forest extension. Yeah, this is fine. Tell you what I would also like to connect in. Where's that Green Cities road? Here. So there is road connection opportunities coming out of the office park as well. Let's just bring this straight down, and then we can use this as an excuse to connect in this national road now as well. Let's clear out a little bit of the forest. It's the simple things it is, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it is. This is one way, it needs to be two-way. I wonder if we can afford a rail crossing here as well. Can we come out with a regular road? Yeah, and can we upgrade this into high speed? Yes, we can. Might do a couple of these. Making it one way, so the people driving on the right cut across. Does that make sense? We'll see how a little road connection. I'm gonna elevate this rail. I think it's gonna end up elevated, but we'll see how it goes for the time being. Like put it on a little embankment. Okay. Lots of supply issues. Are we okay, everyone? What's up? What are you missing? Petroleum? Crops? Crops? Crops and crops? We have crops stored up. Just go and get them. They're there when you want them. What are you missing? Carina Press. Carina Press wants paper. Okay. What are you whinging about? Not enough raw materials. A little bit of supply and demand problems. We seem to be petering out a little. So what we are getting here now is these little warnings, which is not enough goods to sell. There's a couple popping up in the downtown too. So currently, Novaria, we import all of our goods because we've made it to basically 50,000 population, and we have no generic zoned industry. So everything's being imported. So I think next episode we're going to work on the industrial riverfront here to sit opposite Carina Marina. Because we need to start producing some goods locally. Everything's been imported and it's giving us goods issues now. This probably wants to be a roundabout eventually, so let's factor that in now. Let's go for just a small one. There we go. And then let's go for another little freeform with a road guideline. And then don't worry about these connections just yet. They will eventually go somewhere, but for right now that's not really important. It will provide that connection back to the area. Of course, hooking it into here as well. Okay, how long have you been building this city?
18th of May we started, so nearly 5 months now. Oh yeah, they are popping up now, aren't they? Yeah, we're getting a few here as well. So with you, we losing garbage processing? No. Ooh, backlog. Hello traffic. Hello traffic indeed. What is happening here? What's wrong? The trams are stopping people. Wait, where are you going? You don't go down this way. There are new trams joining the Black Line for some reason. I have no idea why. Why are there new trams coming onto the Black Line? What's happened to the old ones? That's why it was backing up, because there's new trams coming on. Why? Why is that? I don't know why this is happening. Why is there so many black trams coming on? What's up? What's wrong with you? Okay, that's very weird. Yeah, that's what was causing the traffic jam. Very unusual. Don't know why the trams are coming out like that. It's like they were just coming out of the depot again for the first time. Very strange. Everyone's okay now, right? Are we happy? I think so. Maybe another backup elsewhere. They spawn them on the track. It's not a long tram line though. It only runs down to here to meet with the metro. And now they're all stuck up each other's ass. They're all just backing up with each other. Very weird. And that's never happened before. It's cleared the traffic though. That's what was causing it. Strange. Anyway, easily distracted. Back to our national roads. Okay, so what's going on here? What is happening here? Let's reload this, shall we? We probably want a roundabout here. So let's remove a little bit of forest. And then prepare this national road connection to be activated. Because this goes down into the forestry town. You're going to ruin my views? Yes, we will with the industrial build, Karina. We will, but it's all in the name of progress, right? Okay, so where are you going to sit? Let's bring an arterial out, which will destroy our cycle network, but we can live with that for the time being. Yep, this should be okay. Let's upgrade these into high speed. Big fan, sir. Hey Elahi, welcome to stream. Glad to hear you're a big fan. Appreciate the support. Cool. And then you as well. We'll have to get a little bit of let's rework this slightly to clear out a touch of that forest too. There we go. Nice. Okay. I'll just get one simple connection in. Oh, it's a little bit. There's a touch of junk around there, isn't there? It's a little bit better. And then upgrade this into arterial as well. And hopefully we can now reinstate our cycle network, which has been slightly broken. Let's come off road length and guideline as well. There we go. Ooh, do we want to extend the cycle network to run parallel with the national roads? It's a possibility, isn't it? It'll be an interesting experiment as to how far people will actually cycle. Should we try it? Just see what happens. Let's continue snapping to our angle as we come over the existing transport infrastructure. Really? You're giving me grief over that? Let me end the poll now. Yeah, it's pretty 50-50, isn't it, about music? Okay, I'll see what happens with it. We'll decorate this roundabout up in a second as well. Let's go on to road guideline. And then let's come down. Of course, we love, absolutely love, a slightly elevated cycle network in City Skylines. So let's bring this parallel right with the national road. Because this means if we hook this in, technically you can cycle from the downtown all the way to Nowheria, which is tremendously exciting. That's very interconnected with the cycle network, isn't it? That's if it gets used. I think it might be too far for them, but we'll see anyway. Okay, let's continue to add in the supporting pathways first on the straight sections. Always makes things easier. And we'll worry about how we connect in once we get down here. So let's go on to those freeform vibes. There we go. Let's make sure it doesn't look too ridiculous either. We should be okay. Yeah, we're fine. There is people using this crossing, which is creating traffic, so this is probably a bad idea. Yeah, I don't want this to happen. Stop that. Might elevate this as well over the rail, curve it round and bring a connection down. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's give it time. Okay, so where is the cycle network going to land? Probably here would be alright. Let's take away a touch of that fence. Off the road guideline. We want to touch down to the ground very briefly. And then we will elevate up by that single point again. We will lose a little bit of housing, but it's fine. We'll just trim those zonings off a little bit. There we go. Let's come on to straight route tour. I want to see if we can mimic the elevation of the road bridge as well. Something a little bit like that. Come back onto that angle snap. Cool. Then we can cross back to the single elevation point as we come over. Maybe not actually, we want to remain slightly higher to cross over the rail as well. There we go, that's what we want. We need to switch back to the other side. That's not straight, is it? That isn't straight at all. I need to fix that. I need to sweep to the other side of the highway. I don't know where I'm going to do that. Actually, no we don't, because we're on elevation, it's fine. Yeah, we should be okay. What I remember most of you playing the music like building Paladin was the boring repetition of the Galaxy Map theme and the fact that it was too loud or too soft. I'm not a fan. Okay, interesting, Jane. I think when I'm watching streamers, I prefer no music. Well, I guess everyone's different, right? I think maybe we'll try it for a stream this week. Because I don't play with the game music on. When I'm not speaking, there's just like dead silence. That can be a little bit awkward sometimes. But it was nice when we were playing the City State 2, because that has a really nice soundtrack. Even though I got bloody copyright claimed on it, but regardless, the music was still nice. Okay, let's get some nice sweeping curves in here as we cross over. Okay, so we'll worry about these final connections in a minute. Let's just leave it connected and see if anyone picks this up. Of course, it will also allow us to connect into the airports eventually as well. It's very ugly at the minute, just don't pay attention to it. Let's just see if anyone uses it. Let's head back to the main junction. Nothing like a casual 67-mile bike ride, yeah. Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Let's wait at the junction and see if anyone picks it up. Because the cycle network's really busy. So hopefully someone will. We'll see. We'll hang out here for a hot minute and read some of your comments. I like it with music, but with no music you give people the choice to play the background in another tab. That's very true. That's very true. Why not just use the game music? There are some bops. There's some bops. There are some bops on the radio stations. I don't have the radio stations. It's like the DLC I don't have. Hey Ade. Oh god, I've got Adia and Ade in the stream. The two names I have the most difficulty pronouncing. Let's come into audio. Let's knock on a little bit of jam, shall we? If it becomes annoying, just let me know. Not a big fan of cityscapes. I'm assuming you mean city-state. Downtown radio is the only one I listen to in the game. That sounds quite loud. I can hear that. Let me just knock that down a little bit. That sounds really loud. Knock it down to 10. Yeah, okay, no one's using this cycle network. Oh, yes they are. I missed them. So you live at the Sunshine Residence and you are going to the community school in no area. Okay, so Ashton Lewis couldn't get a place in no area, so he studies at somewhere instead. I'm losing track of these names, man. We're getting too complicated. Let's enjoy a little first person tour along the new cycle network, shall we? Someone used it, yeah. Yeah, here we go. Lunatic, yes. Interesting though, isn't it? How far the AI will actually go with cycle network. They definitely wouldn't walk this route. Cycling's massively overpowered. And someone just came, yeah, look, they're coming past as well, so they're cycling from some area to no area. Nice. There's going to be absolutely no, like, heart problems in this city, is there? Everyone is so, like, cardiovascularly ripped. all the cycling that happens in this city. There's tons of it. Yeah, look at them all coming the other way. Yes, please. Nice, it's working. Very good. He's probably bullied at school in no area. Probably bullied for his love of cycling. So it's like, I'll show you all and cycle to somewhere you're instead. Is there a proper downtown in the area? Yes, there is. It's right behind us. We'll go and have a look at it in a minute. Actually, yeah, I'll tell you what, let's look at someone cycling the other way at night time, because they'll come into the skyline, won't they? Let me find someone. You. Who are you? Dexter Parker. He's cycling to the trade school media lab. That is so far away. He's going to the campus. That's so far. He's literally cycling to the other side of the map. There's the skyline though. Yes, please. Very nice. Yeah, it's cute going back this way, isn't it? What a wonderful cycle though. Yeah, so this dude here, he's going to the trade school media lab. All the way over here. He's cycling so far. But you know, that's the power of the cycle network, right? So he's going to come back through here. And then he'll pick up the connection on the bridge which takes them into the university. That's crazy. That's really far. I didn't think that they would do all that. It's a crazy distance. Cool. We'll leave the cycle network in then. We definitely want we definitely want to correct this though. This is horrific. Let's see if we can fix this. Let's come up for snapping onto the angle. More first person videos coming up. Yeah, absolutely. You guys are supporting the first person videos, so we will continue to make more of them. Yeah, everyone's enjoying a little bit of first person spice. I really don't like this. This is not fun. I think keep it on this side of the highway until it crosses the rail and the actual main highway. Let's come off our angle, let's just start eyeballing this. Yes please merchandise. I don't think we have any yes please merch, do we? There's hello people, and as always, but I don't think we have yes please. There is merch link down in the description if you want to see what's available. I should know, it's my merch, but Liz helps me with it. Shout out to the merch queen. Yeah, this is a little bit more acceptable, isn't it? And then can we just get a nice little sweep? There's a small little sweet spot there somewhere. There we go. Touch longer than that, perhaps. That's a bit better. Okay. Any chance he's cycling to like a metro or bus stop? No, he was cycling all the way to the we'll fix that next episode. That's tomorrow week's problem. Okay. Not bad. I think we made some nice progress here today though. This still looks very unfinished. Let's kind of round out the stream today by completing some highway decoration around the edge of the new highway. I guess you would call this an on and off system, right? I guess it would qualify as that. Just a little collection of kind of ring roads and, not ring roads, little like slip roads that come on and off in different directions. Let's also bring it down this side too. Have a meeting. Have a great day if I don't make it back at the bad time you went. No worries, Adia. Thank you for stopping by. And enjoy your meeting. Okay. Let's bring that down. Let's also continue with the zoo fence here as well. To continue up until where the lanes split off. We'll leave it there. And then we'll allow the sugar maple pattern to continue as well, which we want to be curving here too. Okay. I'm surprised we managed to hit 100 people, you know, on this time on a Monday. I didn't think we would. So I do appreciate the support on the impromptu random midweek stream, guys.